Chapter 2445. Take care. Remember to ensure your own safety. The skinny Mo Qianqian watched as the two figures disappeared into the black wind pillar. His face was full of worry. He had given everything he had for Haibei City. Now he could only place his hopes on Night Sorrow and Jing Yun. There was more than one black wind pillar. Night Sorrow chose the one that Ao Qinggu led him to last time. After Mo Qianqian's explanation, he learned that the dark sinkhole was actually the entrance to the dark precinct. The skeletons that kept appearing were born in the dark precinct. Their mission was to use their bodies to consume the energy of the endless bone realm. After some years, the power of the endless bone realm suppressing the dark precinct would loosen. Then many dark creatures would be able to return to Haibei City. This world gives me an extremely oppressive feeling. It makes me very uncomfortable. Following Night Sorrow into the dark sinkhole, Jing Yun frowned. Not only was there an evil dark aura, there was also a strong aura of death. The aura here was even more evil than the cave they had stayed in for thousands of years. This caused her soul to suffer an extremely heavy impact, and she felt an urge to kill. It felt as if there was something in the bottom of her heart that incited her to kill. Before officially entering the dark precinct, she already had such a feeling. This made Jing Yun very worried about this trip. Don't think too much. This kind of place tests a cultivator's mind the most. If you let your imagination run wild, the consequences will be very terrifying. You need to be as calm as still water to be able to move forward. Night Sorrow gently patted Jing Yun's shoulder and continued. You just need a process of adaptation. If we walk for a while, we might have to face our first battle. Be prepared. The last time they entered the dark sinkhole, Night Sorrow had encountered 3 Supreme Deity stage gorillas after walking for 30,000 miles. Now he wanted to use the dark aura to control one of them and learn their language and habits. At the same time, he could also have a preliminary understanding of the dark precinct. As for the aura in the sinkhole, Night Sorrow, who had been here before, was much more accustomed to it. Moreover, he had experienced too much since he started cultivating. His mind was tougher than Jing Yun's. Okay, I will try my best to adapt and not be a burden. You have to have confidence in me. After all, Jing Yun had never done such a thing before. She was still a little nervous, but this was normal. Seeing the determination in Night Sorrow's eyes, her nervous mood gradually calmed down. Hee, don't be afraid. In the first battle, you will support me and see how I deal with them. If nothing unexpected happened, they would encounter the 2 gorillas from last time. Night Sorrow thought that the opportunity for revenge had come. Although he couldn't use his power of virtue, he had already adapted to this environment after 1,000 years of tempering. This was another manifestation of his combat talent. Last time, when they encountered 3 gorillas, Night Sorrow used all his strength to kill the strongest one. However, he was almost killed by the other 2 beasts. If Ao Qinggu, who was controlled by hidden fury, had not appeared, he might have been killed. Now that he had returned to the sinkhole, he naturally wanted to take revenge. Gurgle, gurgle. In the dark sinkhole, the rubble that had been knocked down by the previous battle had already disappeared. All kinds of skeletons were still moving forward without any intelligence. As the dark aura on Night Sorrow and Jing Yun was very strong, the skeletons didn't pay any attention to them. The 2 of them used the gorillas to climb into the sinkhole. After walking for about 20,000 miles, they suddenly heard a roar coming from the depths. They looked at each other and walked towards the direction of the sound. Soon Night Sorrow saw a pale, hairless gorilla hanging on the stone wall not far away. It was the gorilla that first discovered Night Sorrow and Jing Yun, which was why it roared. Hee, we meet again. Night Sorrow knew that the gorilla was roaring because it was using the gorilla's unique method to communicate. He didn't understand the meaning of the gorilla's roar at all. He sneered in his heart and quickly ran over. This gorilla was the one that had tried to sneak an attack on him but failed. It had just reached the god realm of body refinement, and wasn't very strong. Roar. Seeing Night Sorrow rushing over aggressively, the hairless gorilla hanging upside down on the stone wall let out a hurried roar. Roar. Although Night Sorrow didn't understand the language of the gorilla, he understood that it was issuing a warning. He imitated the gorilla's actions and roared even more ferociously. He jumped up high and rushed towards the gorilla. Night Sorrow had fought with this kind of gorilla before. He was very clear about their fighting habits and imitated their movements. Jing Yun was a little sluggish when she saw this. If she didn't come with him, she would even think that Night Sorrow was the real gorilla. Boom. The gorilla hanging upside down on the stone wall was immediately enraged when it saw a gorilla with similar aura launching an attack for no reason. It jumped to the ground and madly ran towards Night Sorrow. Dark creatures were heavily influenced by the dark aura. They were extremely violent and had a strong sense of territory. Good timing. Facing the gorilla that was madly running towards him, Night Sorrow started a wild battle with it. This gorilla wasn't strong and wasn't Night Sorrow's opponent at all. Soon, it tore off one of its forearms. It was in so much pain that it couldn't stop howling. However, this also stimulated its ferocious nature. It continuously used the dark secret technique, and its strength immediately increased by a large margin. This hairless ape is quite strange. It once ran away after sneaking an attack on me. Now that it encountered its own kind, it chose to fight to the death. After analyzing that this might be the gorilla's racial habit, Night Sorrow thought that it was best if it didn't run away. It would be easier for him to use the dark aura to control its soul later. He used the star's tyrant body and similarly increased his strength to continue suppressing the gorilla. Soon, this battle without any suspense came to an end. The gorilla that was continuously attacked had completely lost its ability to fight. Jing Yun, watch it. If there is no accident, there should be another gorilla nearby. I will deal with it and come back to use the dark aura to try to control its soul. This gorilla is relatively weak and is the most suitable target. The last time he entered the heaven pit, Night Sorrow was ambushed and bombarded into the stone wall. That gorilla wasn't weak. If there was no accident, it should be close by. In order to prevent it from ambushing and interrupting the soul control, Night Sorrow was prepared to kill it first. However, as he walked deeper into the heaven pit, the soul-devouring evil wind suddenly became stronger. The blocking of perception became quite serious. The range of perception became closer and closer. Night Sorrow searched for thousands of miles, but didn't find the gorilla. Therefore, he turned back again. Let's bring this beast out of the heaven pit and use the soul control. It's not safe here. After finding Jing Yun, Yishan said a few words. Then he picked up the dying hairless ape and brought it out of the crater. After finding a large flat area, Night Sorrow told Jing Yun to pay attention to the surroundings and guard against the sneak attack of the dark creatures. Then, he controlled the dark aura to envelop the gorilla that had lost its ability to resist. The backlash of the soul control is so strong. Chapter 2446. Soul control was very special. It was either the east wind suppressing the west wind, or the west wind suppressing the east wind. As long as it was used, one side would definitely be suppressed. What it tested was the toughness of the soul. It seems that using this kind of secret technique isn't too difficult for me. Although his soul suffered a strong backlash, Night Sorrow, who was sitting on the cold ground, raised the corner of his mouth and revealed a smile. He was not afraid of things like testing the soul. Reality quickly proved that the hairless ape was not a threat to Night Sorrow at all. It did not struggle for long before it completely stopped moving. Obviously, it was under control. So the evil spirit that successfully ambushed me last time was killed by a female cultivator. No wonder I couldn't find it. After controlling the hairless ape, Night Sorrow immediately read all of its memories. After muttering a sentence, a figure flashed in his mind. Wasn't the female cultivator, who killed the evil spirit Ao Qinggu? She did not go to Seaside City, but entered the dark domain. What is her goal? Could it be that she wants to completely join the darkness? Night Sorrow could not understand why Ao Qinggu entered the dark domain alone, but he immediately became vigilant. Afterward, he continued to read the ape's memories and gained a certain understanding of the dark domain. This was a world filled with blood and slaughter. Its area was thousands of times larger than the Endless Bone Realm. There were several races of dark creatures. These dark races were constantly killing each other. It was very cruel and bloody. The strongest races were the Dark Demon race and the Dark Shadow race that had produced divine monarchs. They each occupied half of the Dark Holy Land's Thousand Cavern Mountain. The other races were distributed around the Thousand Cavern Mountain, according to their strength. The stronger ones had territories closer to the Thousand Cavern Mountain, while the weaker ones were naturally further away from the central area. The ape race was not even in the top 10 in the dark domain. They were considered to have a very low status. Their race had 30 to 40 deities in charge of guarding the sinkhole's passage. Their territory was just outside the sinkhole. Passing through the other races and reaching the Thousand Cavern Mountain was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. This was because Yi Shang had learned from Yen Gui's memories that even the weakest race in the Dark Realm had no less than 10 supreme gods. There were probably over 1,000 deities among the powerful dark races near the Myriad Cavern Mountain. There are so many high gods in the dark domain. No wonder it can produce divine monarchs. But that's not right. Logically speaking, since Haibei City could give birth to 3 monarchs, there should be quite a number of high gods. Why were there only a few left now? Could it be that something happened? Countless years ago, Haibei City was attacked by 3 powerful clans. Although they were no match for them, they were still able to put up a fight. But now, the gap between their strength was like heaven and earth. Night Sorrow, who was deep in thought, couldn't figure it out at all, so he stopped thinking about it. Now that he knew that Haibei City was so much weaker than Darkness Domain, he was even more determined to seal Dark Demon Divine Lord. He thought to himself, if Dark Demon Divine Monarch breaks the seal, he will most likely find a way to break through the Endless Bone Domain's obstruction and attack Haibei City. There were only a handful of deities in Seaside City at the moment. The city would surely be plunged into misery and suffering if the dark races attacked. But what should I do to get close to the Thousand Cave Mountain and seal the Dark Demon again? Night Sorrow, who was racking his brains for a solution, was frowning. Seeing him like this, Jingyan, who was standing at the side, asked with a worried expression, "Night Sorrow, are you all right?" "I'm fine. I've successfully read all its memories. The waters of Darkness Domain are very deep. Our journey will be full of difficulties." Night Sorrow cut off the control over the hairless gorilla's soul and killed it. Then he told Jingyan about Darkness Domain. "This Darkness Domain is actually so terrifying. What should we do?" Hearing Night Sorrow say that there were so many high gods in Darkness Domain, Jingyan, who was mentally prepared, was still shocked. "In my opinion, we need to first blend into the gorillas and wait for an opportunity," Night Sorrow analyzed. "But can we do it?" After all, they were in disguise, so Jingyan wasn't confident enough. "It's fine. Our aura is no different from theirs. Moreover, the gorillas are basically born in Darkness Domain. They don't have parents, so their origins won't be investigated. Next, I'll tell you the unique language of their race and some other things." Time was of the essence. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he taught Jingyan everything he knew. Although Jingyan's comprehension was very high and she had memorized all the history of the gorillas and learned all their language and movements, it still took her close to 100 years. "We can officially enter the dark sector now. Follow me closely." Night Sorrow was worried that they had been delayed for over 100 years. He was afraid that it would affect the overall situation. He quickened his pace with Jingyan and re-entered Heaven Pit. This time, in the Heaven Pit where the soul-devouring evil wind was extremely ferocious, Night Sorrow and Jingyan once again encountered a gorilla. Night Sorrow, who had already learned the language of the gorillas, didn't attack. Instead, he communicated with the gorilla and was quickly let go. This gave the two of them a lot of confidence in blending into the gorillas. The total length of Heaven Pit was about 200,000 miles. However, Night Sorrow and Jingyan only met 3 gorillas. Jingyan didn't think much of it. However, Night Sorrow felt that something was amiss. The frequency of this was too low. Could it be that something big has happened to the gorillas, and they are unable to send out extra high gods to guard the passage? After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that this should be the case. Standing in front of the passage entrance, he instructed, "Jingyan, in a while we will enter Darkness Domain and do our best to blend into the gorillas. This race is very murderous. We can appear stronger. If the situation goes wrong, we will rush back to the Endless Bone region. They won't be able to enter." "Alright, I understand." Jingyan nodded her head with a grave expression. Then the two of them entered darkness domain hand in hand with apprehension. Originally, they were prepared to be interrogated at the first moment, because this was the rule of the guerrillas. However, after passing through the passage, they discovered that the guerrillas' territory was very chaotic. This was because the leader of the guerrillas was gathering his troops. Obviously, a battle was about to break out. This is a rare opportunity. Let's sneak in. The opportunity would not come again. Night Sorrow and Jing Yun immediately took advantage of the chaos to blend into the troop of high gods gathered by the guerrillas. The process was very smooth. No one stopped them. However, just as the two of them were rejoicing, the leader of the guerrillas, a mid-high god, pointed at Night Sorrow and cursed, "Bastard, who are you? Why are you here?" "What? I've been discovered? How can this be?" Hearing this cold voice, Night Sorrow was shocked. He felt that his disguise was quite good. There shouldn't be any problems. What should we do? Chapter 2447. The leader of the guerrillas was a mid-level high god, slightly stronger than the one Night Sorrow had killed back then. Night Sorrow had the confidence to fight him if he went all out. But the problem now was that there were more than 30 high gods around him. Even if the guerrillas were not strong, they were not something he could fight alone. The situation was too dangerous. If he was not careful, he could be torn to pieces. If the situation is not good, I will escape alone. I can't drag Jingyun down. It's not easy to infiltrate the guerrillas. I can't let her give up halfway. Yi Shang's eyes revealed a trace of viciousness as he thought to himself. He was already prepared to attack. He could not win, but he could not sit still and wait for death. Do you want to die? How dare you stand in the group of high gods? Is that where a feather god small fry like you should stand? At this moment, the leader of the guerrillas, Yen Kuei, pointed at Night Sorrow and scolded him fiercely. In fact, if it were not for the fact that there were less than 300 of them in the guerrillas, he would have attacked immediately. The guerrillas had a strict hierarchy, and standing in the wrong place was a serious problem. So this is the problem. I was careless. Night Sorrow had been fighting with high gods recently, and he had subconsciously thought of himself as a high god. But in reality, he was only a mid-level feather god. With the strength of a mid-level feather god, standing in the group of high gods was indeed inappropriate. In the dark precinct, strength determined seniority. Him standing in the group was a provocation to the strong. Little brat, with the strength of a feather god, you dare to stand with us? I, Yenxia, will teach you a lesson today. Come out and fight. After the leader of the guerrillas, Yen Kuei, finished speaking, a low-level high god gorilla jumped out and pointed at Night Sorrow. The other high god realm gorillas made way for them. Fighting among the dark precinct was too normal. Thank goodness. If my identity was not exposed, I would be in big trouble. The scene in front of her had caught Jingyun off guard. Her heart was beating fast, and she was ready to fight. Seeing a gorilla challenge Night Sorrow, she was obviously relieved. Teach me a lesson? How arrogant. Since I dare to stand here, I naturally have the strength of a high god. Let me teach you a lesson. Night Sorrow rejoiced that his identity had not been exposed. He immediately displayed his berserk strength, and used the language of the demons to provoke them. Night Sorrow's movements and speech were no different from ordinary gorillas. This had a lot to do with his 100 years of practice. You're courting death. I will tear you apart. Night Sorrow's provocative words had completely stirred up Gorilla Evil's ferocious nature. Although gorillas were not allowed to kill each other, there were many cases of them accidentally killing their companions. At this moment, Scarlet Evil's entire body was covered in a dark aura. The fangs protruding from the corners of its mouth gave off a bloodthirsty aura. Its heart of slaughter had already risen. How dare you provoke me? I'll kill you. Yi Shan roared in an extremely arrogant manner as he faced Xie. Boom. After Night Sorrow roared, the entire group of gorillas became lively. Not a single one of them could defeat a lesser high god at the level of an intermediate feather god. Furthermore, Gorilla Evil was ranked in the top 10 of the gorillas. It was extremely ferocious. Now a mere intermediate feather god dared to provoke it in front of its entire tribe. This was really unexpected. Roar. You're dead. I'll fight you to the death. Gorillas were creatures born in the dark dimension. They were extremely evil and murderous. Now that Night Sorrow had provoked them, Gorilla Evil completely erupted. Gorilla Evil roared and jumped high into the air. It raised its fist and smashed towards Night Sorrow's head. It wanted to smash Night Sorrow's head with its fist. You want to kill me in an instant? How is that possible? You're too naive. Gorilla Evil's movements were very primitive. It was basically the instinct of gorillas to kill. There was not much skill in it. Facing such an attack, Night Sorrow did not feel much pressure. He chose to meet it head-on. The battles between gorillas were basically like this. They relied on their primitive strength to fight. As long as they retreated, they would lose and be looked down upon by their tribe. Boom! Night Sorrow faced the sky and jumped into the air. He waved his fist and collided with Gorilla Evil's fist. The result was that he was evenly matched with Gorilla Evil. After they collided in the air, they were both sent flying hundreds of miles away and landed on the ice-cold ground. This Gorilla Evil's strength is really not weak. Night Sorrow is secretly amazed. This Gorilla Evil's strength exceeded his estimation. He originally thought that Gorilla Evil's strength should be similar to Ao Qingwu's. In fact, Gorilla Evil's strength is much stronger than Ao Qingwu's. Roar! Gorillas were creatures that did not hold back. Every attack would be at full strength. Gorilla Evil's attack did not kill Night Sorrow. It immediately roared and continued to attack with extreme ferocity. Come on, who is afraid of who? If you dare to be fierce with me, see how I'll slap you to death. Night Sorrow's aura became even more ferocious. He looked like a gorilla and roared towards the sky. He erupted with a world-shaking aura and immediately began to fight with Gorilla Evil. They did not use any secret techniques to increase their battle strength. They relied on the primitive strength of their bodies and fought with their blood gushing out. Gorilla Evil's strength was about the same as Night Sorrow's, but its body was incomparable. Moreover, Night Sorrow had the Azure Phoenix battle armor protecting him. After a few hundred rounds of fighting, Gorilla Evil was covered in wounds while Night Sorrow was unharmed. Seeing that Night Sorrow, a mid-level feather god, could suppress Gorilla Evil, the gorillas in the tribe roared excitedly. The dark races were very violent and worshipped the strong. During the course of the battle, Scarlet Evil panted heavily and gradually lost the ability to fight back. He was beaten by Yi Shang. It was very angry and powerless. The tribe could not use any secret techniques when fighting, but it was defeated by someone of a higher level. This was a great humiliation. It was so angry that it roared continuously. It could only roar helplessly. Stop. I admit defeat. I, Gorilla Evil, admit defeat. Admit defeat? Didn't you say you were going to tear me apart? Night Sorrow roared and continued to hammer. Enough. Stop. Seeing that the battle was over, the leader of the gorillas, Gorilla Evil, roared to stop him. After it roared, Night Sorrow, who was riding Gorilla Evil, hammered it more than 10 times before jumping down victoriously. Gorilla Evil had been beaten out of shape and was in a very miserable state. Its head was very low as it silently crawled to the back of the group of high gods. You are very good, very strong, qualified to stand in the group of high gods. But what is your name? Why didn't you appear before? After things calmed down and the tribe calmed down, Gorilla Evil questioned Night Sorrow fiercely. His aura was very shocking, very much like the might of a superior. My name is Gorilla Death. I have been guarding the sinkhole for a few reincarnations. Recently, I was summoned and returned to the tribe. After pondering for a moment, Night Sorrow explained in the language of the gorillas. From the gorillas he killed, he already knew about the gathering of the gorillas recently. If it was not so, there would be more than a few gorillas guarding the sinkhole. Moreover, the gorillas guarding the sinkhole were not only high gods but also Feather God realm. It was just that most Feather God realm gorillas died in various battles. Such an answer was basically flawless. However, Night Sorrow was still a little nervous. After all, it was a genuine imposter. But why do you have the aura of a human cultivator on you? Chapter 2448. What? Have I been found out? Hearing this question, Night Sorrow was shocked. He secretly wondered if he had been exposed. However, his current aura was no different from Yen Gui's. Moreover, his speech, actions, and expression were all impeccable. Logically speaking, it was impossible for him to be found out. Could it be the 1,000 catty demon subduing spear? At this time Night Sorrow reacted. Although the 1,000 catty demon subduing spear had been nourished in the dark aura for 1,000 years, it was still from the hands of a cultivator. Thinking of this, Night Sorrow imitated Yan Gui's appearance and grimaced, reporting to the leader. Tens of thousands of years ago, I once controlled a severely injured human cultivator in the sinkhole, and read his memories and divine weapon. I also obtained many good things to increase the strength of my body. So that's how it is. Yan Kui stared at Night Sorrow for a while and didn't find anything wrong. He waved his hand and said, "Return to the team. From now on, you will be in the High God team and replace Yan Xie to rule a small team of 10. Yes, leader. Night Sorrow, who had muddled his way through, heaved a sigh of relief. He made a gesture of reverence unique to the Yan Gui tribe, and then retreated to the team. All of you, shut up for this lord. Hearing that Night Sorrow had replaced Yan Xie's position, the tribe was a little chaotic. Yan Kui roared. When the team quieted down again, he said in a hoarse voice, I have gathered everyone here to announce something important. The Dark Demon Emperor will be completely free in 1,000 years. After the Emperor awakens, our Dark Realm will once again launch an attack on High Bay City. This time, we will raze High Bay City to the ground and devour all the cultivators. Dark Demon Emperor? It should be the Dark Demon Emperor, right? Its seal will be broken in 1,000 years? Looks like I have to think of a way to strengthen the seal quickly. Hearing Yan Kuei's words, Night Sorrow immediately felt a heavy pressure in his heart. If the Dark Demon Emperor was allowed to escape, the situation of the dark races in the dark domain would definitely end immediately. It would lead these dark creatures to break the suppression of the endless bone domain and return to the God realm. With High Bay City's strength, how could it withstand the attack of so many dark creatures? If Dark Fiend Divine Lord escapes, the consequences will be unimaginable. We have to think of something as soon as possible. Jing Yun, who was standing beside Night Sorrow, was also worried. However, they had just arrived, so it was already not easy for them to sneak into the gorillas. It was extremely difficult for them to get close to the 1,000 Cavern Mountain and find the place where the Dark Demon Divine Lord was sealed. Kill all the cultivators. The other gorillas immediately went crazy. They were looking forward to fighting. Those who had participated in the battle back then could even recall the smell of cultivators' blood. This will happen 1,000 years later. I've gathered all of you here because I have something else to do. Yan Kui continued with a voice from hell. 100 years ago, a cultivator of dragons broke into the dark domain. In these 100 years, she slaughtered 2 races and then disappeared. Divine Lord An Hun of the Dark Demon Clan is worried that she will affect the Emperor, so he ordered all the clans to search for her and capture her alive or kill her. It's Ao Qingwu. Why did she barge into the dark dimension and slaughter 2 races? Night Sorrow was sure that the cultivator Yan Kui was talking about was Ao Qingwu. Ao Qingwu had been corroded by the dark aura and was later cured. However, after she recovered, her temperament changed drastically, and she seemed to have turned into a demon. Now that she had appeared in the dark region and slaughtered 2 tribes, Yishang could not understand what was going on. Not only him, but Jing Yun was also puzzled. They could not figure out the motive, but they both realized that Ao Qingwu's strength must have improved greatly. Otherwise, she would not have been able to escape unscathed and disappear after destroying 2 races. At the same time, Night Sorrow and Jing Yun also received a piece of bad news from Yan Kui. There was a Divine Lord in the Dark Demon Clan. With a Divine Lord, the difficulty of their mission would definitely increase by several times. Leader Yan Kui, I'm the deputy leader of the Soul Devourer clan, God Eater. A cultivator of dragons has appeared and is slaughtering my clan. Our leader is not her match. Leader Yan Kui, please send reinforcements. At this moment, an urgent cry for help suddenly sounded. The cry for help came from the Soul Devourer clan. This was an evil creature born from the Soul Devourer Evil Wind. It looked a little like a praying mantis, and its body was as hard as iron. To think that she would appear so soon. This is a chance to make a contribution. Team of High Gods, Follow me to capture the cultivator of dragons. The rest of you, stay in the territory. Although the dark dimension was full of dark creatures, they also had their own natural treasures. As the two major races in the dark dimension, the Dark Demon Clan and the Dark Shadow Clan occupied the Thousand Cavern Mountain and controlled most of the resources. If he could help the Dark Demon Clan capture or kill the Dragon Clan cultivator, who was causing trouble at a critical moment, he would undoubtedly be rewarded handsomely. Hearing this, Yen Kuei immediately led his team to the Soul Devourer clan's territory to provide reinforcements. Night Sorrow and Jing Yun, who were traveling with the clan, could only occasionally communicate with their eyes because it was inconvenient for them to communicate. Fortunately, the two had a good understanding of each other and could roughly understand each other. Jing Yun, who glanced at Night Sorrow, was obviously asking him what to do if the cultivator of dragons was really Ao Qinggu. Let's take one step at a time. Without seeing Ao Qinggu, Night Sorrow could not analyze her situation at all. He felt that he could only act according to the situation. That's the only way. Jing Yun nodded. She felt that she was just asking nonsense. In such a situation, it was difficult for her and Night Sorrow to control the direction of the situation. The Yen Kuei clan's territory was not far from the Soul Devourer clan's territory. It was only tens of thousands of miles away. It didn't take long for them to hear the sounds of fighting as they moved forward at high speed. In this darkness, Ao Qinggu, who was dressed in black, was surrounded by more than 10 high gods of the Soul Devourer clan. She was covered in blood and was in a very bad condition. She was on the verge of collapse. She roared hoarsely, "Kill! I'll kill all of you despicable creatures! I'll kill all of you, kill all of you! Ao Qinggu!" After getting closer, Night Sorrow noticed that the dark aura around Ao Qinggu was very dense, and her eyes were completely blood red. After not seeing her for 100 years, she seemed to have gone mad and completely lost control. However, she continued to kill the dark creatures. At this moment, she was fighting alone in the dark domain. She gave off an extremely tragic feeling. I think that you must have been a pure and kind female cultivator in the past. The unreasonable you, as well as the demonic you today, are all part of fate's pranks. It's all because of this damn dark aura. One day, I'll completely destroy this place. Ao Qingwu's crazy and pathetic appearance, as well as her hoarse and crazy roars, made Night Sorrow's heart ache. Even the corners of his eyes became wet. What made him understand the cause and effect was that Ao Qingwu chose to enter the dark domain before she completely demonized, and not the divine world. It should be because she was kind. Now that she was fighting like this, it proved that she hated the dark races very much. Chapter 2449. If it was him who was corroded by the dark aura and gradually lost control of his emotions, he would have to face the despair and struggle of becoming a demon every day. How terrifying would that be? Night Sorrow felt uncomfortable all over just thinking about it. At that moment, Jing Yun secretly grabbed Night Sorrow's arm. There were tears at the corners of her eyes, clearly feeling sorry for Ao Qinggu as well. Everyone was a cultivator, but they had to watch her being tortured by the dark race. That was an extremely cruel scene that no one could stand. Don't cry. The gorillas have no tears. We have to control our emotions so that we won't be discovered. After taking a deep breath, Night Sorrow gave Jing Yun a look of assurance before turning his gaze back to Ao Qinggu. Ao Qinggu was even more wretched now that the exalted gods of the gorillas had joined the fray. Although her strength had improved greatly compared to when she lost to Night Sorrow, there was no way she could defend against the attacks of so many exalted gods. Before long, the scene turned into a one-sided slaughter. Ao Qingwu's hoarse roars were replaced by tragic howls. However, even under such circumstances, she did not choose to escape and continued to fight. Clearly, she wanted to fight to the end. Perhaps it was because she had enough of the torture and wanted to fight to free herself. What should we do? Seeing Ao Qinggu in such a state, Jing Yun was extremely worried but could not think of a solution. No, this isn't your fault. I won't let you die just like that. Initially, Night Sorrow hated Ao Qinggu. However, he was touched by her now and did not want a cultivator like her to be tortured to death by the dark aura. Let's go and save her. Seeing that Gorilla Kuei and the others were joining in the attack, Ao Qinggu was in danger. Night Sorrow whispered to Jing Yin and led the charge into the battle. By doing so, Night Sorrow was following his heart. How are we going to escape unscathed if we save her? Jing Yin was clearly stunned when she saw Night Sorrow charging forward without hesitation. However, she did not hesitate and charged over as well. Roar! She's mine. No one is allowed to snatch her from me. Night Sorrow, who had charged into the battle, roared in a ferocious voice as he repelled several high god-level dark creatures that were attacking Ao Qinggu and stood in front of her. Soon after, Jing Yin followed behind him and launched a sneak attack on 2 or 3 dark creatures, forcing them to retreat. Bastard! Xingshang, what are you doing? Yen Kuei, the leader of the Gorlock race, flew into a rage when he saw Night Sorrow's sneak attack and defeat several dark creatures. He was about to attack and kill Night Sorrow. Leader, I'm not helping the dragons, I'm preparing to capture her. Night Sorrow let out a low roar and explained. Chief, the soul-devouring race can't hold on any longer. That's why they asked us for help. Since we came to help, the dragons will naturally belong to us. If we capture her alive and send her to the Thousand Cavern Mountain, Sir Godin Hun will definitely be very happy. In that case, Night Sorrow was also quick-witted. He thought that if he captured Ao Qinggu and sent her to see Sir Godin Hun, he would be able to sneak into the Thousand Cavern Mountain. This was simply a plan to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Roar! That's right. In the dark sector, everyone coveted the resources of the Thousand Cavern Mountain. Hearing Night Sorrow's slightly unreasonable words, Yen Kuei immediately roared in agreement. However, their conversation immediately caused the soul-devouring race to be displeased. Yen Kuei, what do you mean? She appeared in our territory, so she naturally belongs to our race. The leader of the soul-devouring race, Shushi, immediately roared. Ao Qinggu was the meat in their hands. How could they bear to give her away? Belong to your soul-devouring race? If it weren't for my Gorlock race's support, you would have been destroyed by her. What right do you have to fight with my race? Before Yen Kuei could retort, Night Sorrow immediately roared. What Xingshang said makes sense. Yen Kuei nodded in satisfaction when he heard Night Sorrow's words. Roar! Are you preparing to fight? Shushi, the leader of the soul-devouring race, raised his huge hand. He was completely enraged. We are all dark creatures, and our soul-devouring race is also very murderous. Let's fight. Do you think my Gorlock race is afraid of you? In the dark sector, whoever had the biggest fist had the final say. Seeing that the situation was favorable, how could Yen Kuei be willing to speak? Looks like it's a success. The soul-devouring race is definitely no match for the Gorlock race. If the soul-devouring race had the strength of the Gorlock race, they would definitely not have hurriedly asked for help after being ambushed by Ao Qinggu. Yen Kuei, we will fight to the death. It's not that easy to take food from my soul-devouring race. Seeing Yen Kuei's determined attitude, Shushi roared. Soul-devouring race, listen to my command. Kill all the Gorlock race. You overestimate yourselves. Kill the Gorlock race. Yen Shang, control the dragons, don't let her be taken away. At this time, Ao Qinggu had already exhausted her strength and fainted. She was in Night Sorrow's arms. Before the battle, Yen Kuei looked at Night Sorrow with satisfaction. He liked Night Sorrow's domineering attitude. Yes, leader. No one can take the prey from Yen Shang. Night Sorrow roared in a low voice. You're too similar. If I didn't know that you're Night Sorrow, even I would think that you're a Gorlock. Jing Yun, who was standing beside Night Sorrow, saw his actions and expression and felt like laughing. She was very smart and completely understood that Night Sorrow wanted to sneak into the Thousand Cavern Mountain. Jing Yun, take care of her. I'll deal with the soul-devouring race. The soul-devouring race kept coming to snatch Ao Qinggu. Jing Yun was a little overwhelmed. Night Sorrow handed Ao Qinggu over to her and started fighting the high gods of the soul-devouring race. There were more than 30 high gods of the Gorlock race, more than 10 more than the soul-devouring race. There was only one high god of the soul-devouring race that Night Sorrow was fighting. Facing it, Night Sorrow handled it with ease. He quickly removed one of its hand blades and used it as a weapon to wildly hack at it. The high god of the soul-devouring race wanted to ask for help, but found that its race was completely at a disadvantage. They were no match for the Gorlock race and no one had the strength to help it. Without anyone's help, it was quickly dismantled by Night Sorrow. After dismantling the high god of the soul-devouring race, a golden power of virtue immediately appeared and drilled into Night Sorrow's body. Not good. I forgot about this. With the appearance of the power of virtue, Night Sorrow's strength obviously increased a little. However, he was not happy at all because it would be easy to be exposed. Night Sorrow immediately observed everyone in the battle. He found that they were basically all fighting and heaved a sigh of relief. However, before Night Sorrow could be happy, something that gave him a headache happened. Not far away, another race called over by the soul-devouring race, the nefarious demon race, arrived. This nefarious demon race was very strong. They had 2 intermediate high gods and more than 40 lower high gods. The Gorlock race was no match for them. If they attacked, the Gorlock race might not be able to protect Ao Qinggu. Seeing the nefarious demon race appear, the leader of the soul-devouring race, Shushi's eyes immediately lit up. He quickly asked for help and told them about Ao Qinggu. Chapter 2450. The nefarious demon tribe is very powerful. They have 2 middle high gods and over 40 lower high gods. This time, they have mobilized their entire tribe. Obviously, they want to capture Ao Qinggu and hand her over to Sir God and Hun. Standing beside Jing Yun and looking at the nefarious demon tribe, Night Sorrow could not help but think of a countermeasure. First of all, the nefarious demon tribe was not easy to deal with. Moreover, there might be other races appearing soon. This matter had to be resolved quickly. Yenkui, what are you doing? Why are you fighting with Shiryu? Are you trying to snatch the credit in their territory? Xiekuan, the leader of the nefarious demon tribe, said from tens of thousands of miles away. Seeing that the nefarious demon tribe had arrived, the gorilla tribe and soul eater tribe stopped fighting. Yenkui roared with strong fighting spirit. Without my gorilla tribe, the soul eater tribe would have suffered a great loss. They would not have been able to capture the dragon's cultivator. The credit naturally belongs to my gorilla tribe. How is this snatching the credit? In fact, if the nefarious demon tribe was not very powerful, Yenkui would not have wasted his breath on them. The dragon's cultivator did not transform into her dragon form this time. Her fighting power is not strong at all. Without you, my soul eater tribe could have taken her down. Shiryu, the leader of the soul eater tribe, retorted unhappily. He regretted informing the gorilla tribe and the nefarious demon tribe. Ao Qinggu could have wiped out the 2 tribes originally, because her tribe skills were too powerful after she transformed into her dragon form. Today, perhaps because of her severe injuries, she did not transform into her dragon form, and her fighting power was not very strong. Even without the help of the other dark tribes, the Soul Eater tribe could have dealt with her. If we did not come, she might have transformed into her dragon form. You know how the other 2 tribes were wiped out. Yenkui looked ferocious and his eyes were filled with strong fighting spirit. How could he be willing to give up the credit of Ao Qinggu? Not only was he furious, but the warriors of the gorilla tribe were also furious. They could accept taking the credit of others, but they could not allow others to take the credit of others. Facing Yenkui's question, Shirji didn't know how to refute. He said angrily, Chief Xiekuan, my soul-devouring clan is willing to give all the credit to the nefarious devil tribe. If the gorilla clan dares to snatch the credit, my spirit devourer clan is willing to assist you in killing them all. The gorilla clan had just killed a few high deity experts, so devouring sacrifice hated gorilla clan and gorilla clan to the core. When it said this, it glared at Night Sorrow fiercely. At that time, if not for Night Sorrow, Yenkui might not have made the prompt decision to capture Ao Qinggu. Hehe. Very good. Xiekuan hadn't said anything, as he had been waiting for Devour's words. Hearing that, Xiekuan berated Yenkui. Get out of the Devourer tribe's territory immediately. Otherwise don't blame me, Xiekuan. for being ruthless and annihilating your gorilla tribe. The credit belongs to my nefarious devil tribe. Bastard. You didn't even do anything, so why should the credit be yours? Hearing Xiaoquan's threat, Yankui's ferocious nature completely erupted as it roared back. Because my nefarious devil tribe is stronger than your gorilla clan. If you don't get out of my sight, I'll annihilate your entire tribe. Xiaoquan bared his huge fangs and threatened. The nefarious devil tribe looked a little like human cultivators, but they were taller and had two boar-like fangs in their mouths. They looked very ferocious. Roar. Yankui, who was completely enraged, roared, but it didn't have the domineering aura it had when facing the Spirit Devourer clan. The nefarious devil tribe's strength was originally much stronger than the gorilla clan. Now that they had the help of the Spirit Devourer clan, if they chose to fight to the death, they would definitely be annihilated. What are you roaring for? Get out of my sight. Xiaoquan, the leader of the nefarious devil tribe, threatened impatiently. Damn it. Leader, please allow us to fight to the death. That's right. My gorilla clan swears to the death. Leader, please allow us to fight to the death. Seeing their leader being scolded, many high deity gorillas were enraged. The dark races were evil, warlike, bloodthirsty, and violent. They only knew how to fight to the death and weren't as meticulous as the God Realm cultivators. No. Retreat. Yankui, the leader of the gorilla clan, was more rational and roared unwillingly. He knew that if they fought, the gorilla clan would definitely be annihilated today. The gorilla clan only had one medium-high deity expert, while the other side had 3. If they fought, he would be the first to be torn apart. Yanshang, leave the dragons to them. Let's retreat. After gathering the gorilla clan and preparing to leave the Spirit Devourer clan's territory, Yankui roared when he saw that Night Sorrow and Jing Yun were still controlling Ao Qinggu. The gorilla clan warriors beside him were furious. They felt very aggrieved to admit defeat. Retreat? We don't need to retreat. The ones who should leave are the nefarious devil tribe who stole the credit. The ones who should be annihilated are the Spirit Devourer clan. At this moment, Night Sorrow didn't have the slightest intention of retreating. If he handed Ao Qinggu over, he could ensure his own safety, but he would definitely lose the opportunity to go to the Thousand Cavern Mountain. Moreover, he didn't want to hand Ao Qinggu over and watch her be tortured to death by the dark creatures. What did you say? Where did this little brat come from? Even Yankui gave in. How dare you, a medium feather god, act so arrogantly? I see that your nefarious devil tribe is weak, but very arrogant. Xiaowan, go and tear him apart. Xiaoquan roared and ordered. Yes, Lord Chief. Xiaowan of the nefarious devil tribe half-knelt and saluted Xiaoquan. Then he walked out of the formation and went straight to Night Sorrow. Yanshang, come back. I know you're not satisfied, but we're not strong enough, so we can only retreat. Don't fight in a moment of anger. Come back immediately. Yankui admired Night Sorrow's courage, but he felt that he was overestimating himself. Fighting in this kind of situation was obviously courting death. You still want to retreat? It's too late. How dare you bark in front of Lord Chief? I'll tear you to pieces. Xiaowan roared as he ran. How dare you shout at me? I'll break your fangs first. Facing Xiaowan, who was charging at him, Night Sorrow smiled and used the star's hegemonic body. Although Xiaowan was only a lesser high god, he seemed stronger than Xiaowan. Night Sorrow didn't dare to be careless. Without waiting for Xiaowan to attack, Night Sorrow jumped up and punched him. Medium feather god brat, you're overestimating yourself. Evil Chaos grinned as Night Sorrow pounced at him from the air. He was about to jump up and smash Night Sorrow's arms before torturing him. He didn't care about a medium feather god at all. However, to Xiaowan's surprise, Night Sorrow's speed was astonishing. Before he could even attack, 2 mountain-like fists smashed down from the sky. Xiaowan hurriedly raised his hands to block, but Night Sorrow broke his arms. While Xiaowan was howling, Night Sorrow fiercely pressed him to the ground and broke his fangs. I said that I'll break your fangs. After breaking Xiaowan's fangs, Night Sorrow stepped on him and said arrogantly, the nefarious devil tribe is too weak. Who dares to fight me? Chapter 2451. Great. Good job, Scarlet Sorrow. Night Sorrow defeated the arrogant nefarious demon in one round. The warriors of the Scarlet Gorilla tribe roared. They felt that they had vented their anger. Very good. Scarlet Kuei, who had thought that Night Sorrow was overestimating himself, grinned and praised him. He also felt that he had vented his anger. At this moment, Night Sorrow stabbed two of his fangs into Xielwan's head. You're courting death. Someone kill it for me. Xiekuan bared his fangs in anger. The nefarious demon's reputation was severely damaged. At this moment, Xielwan was killed in a one-on-one duel. He could not directly declare war on the Scarlet Gorilla tribe. That would be too embarrassing. He could only roar and give the order. Leader, let me kill it. Xiemei, who was second only to the two intermediate high gods of the nefarious demon tribe, knelt down and requested to fight. Night Sorrow killed Xielwan in an instant. He was immediately valued by the nefarious demons. Good. Xiemei, you can go and tear it apart. Xiekuan glanced at Xiemei and nodded. It's not my match. I want to challenge you. Xiekuan. At this moment, Night Sorrow surprisingly pointed at Xiekuan and challenged him. Killing Xielwan was not Night Sorrow's real goal. He wanted to provoke Xiekuan and get the chance to challenge him. As long as he defeated the leader of the nefarious demons, the nefarious demons would retreat without a fight. This was the only way Night Sorrow could think of to force the enemy to retreat. If a group battle broke out, he would be powerless. This was the only way. Shameless boasting. If you want to challenge the leader, you'll have to get through me first. Xiemei saw Night Sorrow challenge Xiekuan and rushed out of the group in anger. You're not my match. Why are you here to die? Xiemei was one of the strongest lower high gods of the dark races. However, he was much weaker than cultivators. He was about the same as Ao Qinggu when she had just broken through to the upper god realm. How could he be a match for Night Sorrow? Night Sorrow only activated his essence smoke beacon and Star's tyrannical body to crush him with his physical advantage. Its fate was the same as Xielwan's. Xingshang's strength is beyond my imagination. Could it be that it's not from my clan? Seeing how overbearing Night Sorrow was, the other members of the gorilla clan roared again and again. However, Gorilla Kuei felt that something was wrong. Since ancient times, there had never been a gorilla with such fighting strength. It immediately suspected Night Sorrow's identity. Yishang didn't notice this at all. I said, I want to challenge you. Xiekuan. Don't send your clansmen to their deaths. Could it be that you don't dare to fight me? Night Sorrow pointed at Xiekuan, the leader of the nefarious devil tribe. He was trying to provoke the other party. He wanted to turn the complicated situation into a simple one-on-one fight. Since you want to die, I don't mind tearing you to pieces. At this moment, Xiekuan was completely enraged. If he did not dare to accept the challenge of a middle-level feather god in front of so many clansmen, then he could forget about being the leader. Originally, he could have snatched Ao Qingwu's credit without shedding a drop of blood. Now that he was being challenged, Xiekuan was furious. Seeing that Night Sorrow actually dared to challenge Xiekuan, the members of the gorilla clan roared excitedly. Gorilla Kuei's gaze was deep as he secretly observed Night Sorrow. At the same time, he recalled the scene after Night Sorrow had appeared. Not good. Gorilla Kuei is starting to suspect Night Sorrow. Jing Yun, who was secretly observing Gorilla Kuei, cursed inwardly. She began to think of a countermeasure. If Gorilla Kuei exposed Night Sorrow's identity on the spot, the consequences would be unimaginable. Although these dark creatures were not strong in one-on-one fights, there were many of them. With dozens of high gods attacking together, it would be difficult for Night Sorrow to escape. At the same time, Night Sorrow and Xiekuan officially started their battle. After all, Xiekuan was a middle-level high god. His body was very strong. In the battle, Night Sorrow had no choice but to use the Thousand Catty Demon Spear. Although the Thousand Catty Demon Spear was shrouded in a dark aura, and had the aura of a human practitioner, many of the dark creatures present did not mind. This was because there were many divine weapons and cultivation resources in the dark region that had been snatched from High Bay City. Only Gorilla Kuei's gaze became brighter and brighter. His suspicion of Night Sorrow grew stronger. However, at this time, Night Sorrow was fighting with the nefarious demon tribe. Gorilla Kue naturally would not speak. He wanted to use Night Sorrow to defeat the nefarious demon tribe, and then reap the benefits. If it really is a human cultivator, then our contribution this time is really too great. Sir God and Hun will definitely reward me handsomely. Gorilla Kue's face revealed a trace of ruthlessness and complacency. Sir God and Hun was currently the only Sir God expert in the dark region. Gorilla Kue really hoped to receive a reward from him. It seems that Night Sorrow has really been discovered. What should I do? Jingyun, who had been paying attention to Gorilla Kue, was a little anxious. She thought of a countermeasure. She was not too worried about the battle between Night Sorrow and Xiekuan, because she knew the true battle strength of Night Sorrow. You, the leader of the nefarious demon tribe, aren't very strong. You can't even suppress the feather god of my gorilla tribe. In the face of Night Sorrow, Xiekuan was at ease and did not suffer any losses. The battle strength of the dark creatures was lower than he had imagined. Ordinary practitioners should be able to fight against them, let alone him, who had strengthened his body with the Genesis essence of heaven and earth. You deserve to die. After fighting with Night Sorrow for a while, Xiekuan didn't have the slightest advantage. Instead, he was stabbed several times. Xiekuan's face instantly fell. He immediately used a dark secret technique to increase his strength by several times. Facing Xiekuan, whose strength had skyrocketed, Night Sorrow finally felt the obvious pressure. Looks like I have to use the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear that brother taught me. In the dark domain, one could not use the power of virtue. Night Sorrow, who felt the pressure, immediately used the modified soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear. After using the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear, the 1,000-kilogram demon vanquishing spear was immediately surrounded by black gas. This was different from the original light of the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear. It was the result of Night Sorrow's research for a long time. Buzz! As soon as the spear was used, Xiekuan, who had a strong body, was immediately sent flying. This surprised him and made him extremely angry. As the leader of a tribe, he could not even suppress a nameless shrimp. This made Xiekuan feel very hurt. This is the spear technique of the human golden body divine lord. Seeing Night Sorrow use the modified soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear, Gorilla Kue was completely sure that Night Sorrow was a human practitioner. If he was not a human practitioner, he would not have been able to obtain the inheritance of the golden body divine lord. The golden body divine lord was an existence that made the entire dark domain tremble in fear. It was impossible for him to leave his inheritance to a dark creature. Back then, he had experienced the scene of the golden body divine lord killing the shadow divine lord, and was lucky enough to survive. He had a deep memory of the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear. At this time, Night Sorrow wanted to pay attention to Jingyun to see if she was controlling Ao Qinggu. However, he found that there was something in her eyes. Gorilla Kue has discovered my identity. With Jingyun's reminder, Night Sorrow paid attention to Gorilla Kue and knew that his identity had been exposed. However, he did not have time to pay attention to Gorilla Kue. He continued to fight with Xiekuan. As the leader of a tribe, Xiekuan had many tricks up his sleeves. However, the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear restrained him severely. He had used various secret techniques continuously, but he was still not suppressed by Night Sorrow. He had no ability to resist at all. In the end, Xiekuan was in despair. However, there was no other way. He was no match for Night Sorrow. Even if he was unwilling, he had to swallow the bitter fruit of defeat. Since you are the leader of a tribe, I will kill you. Take the nefarious demon tribe and leave this place quickly. After defeating Xiekuan, Night Sorrow did not kill him. He was afraid that Xiekuan would turn into a sacred golden power of virtue and enter his body. If that was the case, he would really die without a burial place. After dealing with the nefarious demon tribe, it's time to figure out how to deal with Gorilla Kue. His identity could not be exposed. At this time, Night Sorrow felt a heavy pressure. Chapter 2452. Roar. I'm no match for you. Xiekuan, who had been defeated by Night Sorrow, was unwilling to accept this. He roared angrily, then stood up and ordered, "Nefarious demons, follow me back to my territory." After being defeated, He was too ashamed to stay here and fight for credit. Wait. You can't leave yet. At this moment, another mid-level high god of the nefarious demons, Xiexing, suddenly grinned and said, Xiekuan, you can't even defeat a mid-level feather god. You don't have the right to continue ruling our nefarious demons. Xiexing actually challenged Xiekuan at this moment. Originally, Xiexing was no match for Xiekuan, but now that Xiekuan was seriously injured, he realized that this was a good opportunity for him to become the leader. So that's how it works. Looks like there's a turning point for Xiekue. Seeing Xiexing challenge Xiekuan, Night Sorrow's eyes lit up. He pointed the 1,000-kilogram demon-subduing spirit Xiekue and said, Xiekue, you're too weak. You retreated without a fight after being provoked by the nefarious demons. You don't have the right to continue leading our nefarious demons. I challenge you to a duel. You're just a human cultivator, and you want to challenge me? Dream on. Warriors of the nefarious demons, tear this human cultivator to shreds. Xiekue's combat strength was about the same as Xiekuan's. Seeing that Xiekuan was no match for Night Sorrow, how could he fight him one-on-one? He directly exposed his identity. Hearing Xiekue's words, the nefarious demons were in an uproar. At this moment, Jingyan roared in a nefarious demon voice, Xiekue, you're not only a coward, you're also despicable and shameless. You're not Xiekue's match, so you deliberately framed him. You don't have the courage of the nefarious demons, and you don't deserve to be our leader. Roar. You're also a human cultivator. Xiekue, who hadn't noticed Jingyun, pointed at her and roared. We're all human cultivators. Are you the only coward who's a true nefarious demon? Night Sorrow roared. Warriors of the nefarious demons, I'll now destroy this coward Xiekue and lead everyone to the 1,000-cavern mountain. I'll bring you endless glory. Roar. Under Night Sorrow's encouragement, the nefarious demons of the nefarious demons roars immediately. The tribe worshipped the strong. At this moment, Night Sorrow had the right to speak. You've all been fooled by him. He really is a human cultivator. Why can't you see it? Yen Kuei roared furiously when he saw that the situation wasn't right. However, in the face of the nefarious devil clan, it chose to give up its merits. This already made many of the primal devils dissatisfied, and it was not popular with them. Furthermore, it continuously accused Night Sorrow and Jingyun of being human cultivators, which gave off a very fake feeling, and none of the gorillas were willing to believe it. Yen Kuei, your cowardice has brought shame to my Yen clan. Even Yen Xie, who had been beaten half to death by Night Sorrow, stood up and criticized Yen Kuei for his cowardice. Yes. Xing Kuei, you are jealous that Xing Shang is stronger than you. I'm afraid that it will threaten your position as leader. You're really despicable. The other gorillas also roared. You guys are really... Yen Kuei was so angry that he hammered his chest, but he was helpless. No one in the Yen clan trusted him. Just now, the gorilla clan had been slapped in the face under its leadership, but Night Sorrow immediately slapped them in the face. Comparing the two, Night Sorrow naturally received more support. As a dark creature, the gorillas had no emotions. Whoever was the strongest would be the leader. This was a rule that would never change even after thousands of reincarnations. Yen Kuei's current behavior made them feel disdain. What? Do you have the guts to fight me fair and square? Whoever wins will become the leader of the gorilla clan. Night Sorrow roared out with a ferocious aura. Do you dare to fight me to the death or not? Do you dare? Roar. Come, let's fight. Could it be that I, Yen Kuei, am afraid of a human cultivator like you? Unable to explain himself, Yen Kuei panted heavily. It was obvious that he was extremely furious, but since he couldn't explain himself, he could only choose to fight. Otherwise, it would be looked down upon by the gorilla clan. If you frame me again, I will tear your mouth apart. The gorilla clan's fighting style was very primitive. Night Sorrow roared and rushed towards Yen Kuei. Yen Kuei didn't say a word. Night Sorrow thought to himself. It seems that no matter where you are, the one who wins the people's hearts wins the world. As long as the words were provocative enough, even if it was false, it could become true. Human cultivator, go to hell. Yen Kuei, who had completely lost his composure, only wanted to tear Night Sorrow to shreds. He immediately activated his strongest secret technique and raised his strength to the peak. He also used the Gorilla Clan's unique technique, Soul-Splitting Evil-Slaying Spear. Facing Yen Kuei's strongest attack, Night Sorrow once again activated the Essence Chi Smoke Signal and Star's Tyrant Body, which were concealed by the dark aura. Then he displayed the Forbidden Spear, which was the fusion of 10 spears. When he was very close to Yen Kuei, Night Sorrow shouted the Soul-Splitting Evil-Slaying Spear. Damn it! Hearing this name, Yen Kuei was subconsciously afraid because the scene of gold-bodied Divine Emperor killing Divine Emperor Dark Shadow and sealing Divine Emperor Dark Demon had terrified him. Boom! With a slight distraction, Yen Kuei was immediately blown away by Night Sorrow's spear. Although the simple Forbidden Spear was not as exquisite as the Soul-Splitting Evil-Slaying Spear, its power was not small. Kill it, kill it. Under Jing Yun's instigation, the other gorillas continuously shouted. Ah! I'm so angry! You bunch of brainless trash! Hearing the cries of the gorillas, Yen Kuei could not concentrate at all to continue fighting. At this moment he was too aggrieved. At this moment, on the other side, Xiekuan, who had almost lost his life, killed Xiexing, who had challenged him, and retained his position as the leader. With only half a breath left, he did not dare to stay and ordered his clan to return to their territory. Seeing the evil demon clan leave, the Soul Goblin clan was dumbfounded and did not know what to do. Dark Control Rise. Night Sorrow, who had the upper hand, immediately used soul control after completely suppressing Yen Kuei, and seeing that he was distracted. He used the evil dark aura to surround Yen Kuei's body. He did not dare to kill Yen Kuei, because it would definitely expose his power of merit. Using soul control was the best choice. Roar! Human cultivator, you want to control me? This is impossible. Yen Kuei realized that Night Sorrow was using soul control on him, and immediately focused on resisting. You brainless thing, you are no match for me in terms of soul control. Facing Yen Kuei, who was a middle-level high deity, Night Sorrow also found it difficult, but he was extremely confident. Being forced into such a situation, he had to be tough enough to control Yen Kuei and shut him up completely. Night Sorrow, you can do it. Jing Yun, who knew how difficult it was to control a middle-level high deity across so many levels, worriedly prayed to Night Sorrow. Although she was very confident in Night Sorrow, she was still a female cultivator, and her mind was more active. Now that Night Sorrow was in danger, Jing Yun realized how much she cared about him, and did not want him to be hurt. Interestingly, the other high deities of the gorillas were also cheering for Night Sorrow, hoping that he could completely control Yen Kuei. He would become the new leader of the gorillas. As for Night Sorrow's identity, no one doubted it. Chapter 2453. While all the members of the gorilla clan were looking forward to it, Night Sorrow and Yen Kuei's soul did not entangle for long before he suppressed it and completely controlled its mind. At this time, the remaining high gods of the soul-devouring clan were still hesitating whether they should take the opportunity to escape or not. The soul-devouring clan is still hesitating and did not escape. I can read some information about Yen Kuei without worry. Ao Qingwu was still unconscious under Jing Yun's control. The soul-devouring clan also did not make any movements. Night Sorrow glanced at Yen Kuei and began to read his memory. As the leader of the gorilla clan, his memory was much more complicated than the hairless gorilla in the pit. The useful information was also many times more. Yen Kuei had witnessed the battle back then and had seen the current strongest expert of the dark sector, Sir God and Hun. At the same time, he knew the way to the 1,000 Cave Mountain. This was very useful information. So my brother was already an invincible Sir God back then. Moreover, his body refining and cultivation techniques were based on what his predecessors had learned. What a genius! In the battle back then, Sir God Mo Qianqian had killed his way into the dark sector alone, killed Sir God Inying, severely injured Sir God Anmo, and sealed him under the 1,000 Cave Mountain. He had also used the Endless Bone Realm to seal the entire dark sector. This was definitely a great merit for Haibei City. Mo Qianqian's figure was not tall, and was even a little stooped. His appearance was also not extraordinary, and his face was slightly wretched. However, when he fought, He was incomparably heroic and brought great shock to Night Sorrow's heart. Hearing about it and seeing it with my own eyes are two completely different things. All sorts of images flashed through his mind. Night Sorrow even felt his blood boil. The predecessors had set a good example for him. No, this is not the right place. I need to control my emotions. The scenes in his mind made Night Sorrow excited and made Night Sorrow sad. However, he knew that this was not good because he was now in the dark sector. The slightest mistake would expose his identity. After confirming the approximate location of the soul-splitting evil spear through the battle scenes and familiarizing himself with the Thousand Cave Mountain, Night Sorrow slowly calmed down. In addition, Xian Kuei had met Sir Godin Hun before. However, Night Sorrow did not read the relevant memories as he was afraid of being detected. There was a lot of other useful information, and Night Sorrow decided to slowly digest it. Otherwise it would take too long. Xian Kuei, my servant, you should know what to do next. Night Sorrow, whose expression had gradually returned to normal, ordered Yen Kuei. At this moment, Yen Kuei's soul had been completely destroyed. Night Sorrow only needed to use a small portion of his soul power to completely control him. Yes, my master. Yen Kuei's originally evil gaze had become somewhat sluggish. After replying, it knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Night Sorrow. Leader, I am willing to serve you. Leader. Leader. At this point, the high gods of the gorilla race knew that a new leader had been born. Night Sorrow had become their ruler. They all knelt on the ground and roared. Night Sorrow had just defeated Xie Kuan, the leader of the evil demon race, and brought him endless prestige. The guerrilla warriors, who revered the strong, revealed a crazed look in their eyes. They were all waiting for Night Sorrow's order to kill all of the Soul Eater race. Finally, we have one. As expected, you never disappoint. Originally, Jingyan wanted to kowtow with the other gorillas. However, Night Sorrow stopped her. Bring the dragons over. Yes, leader. Jingyan took the opportunity to bring Ao Qinggu to Night Sorrow's side, avoiding the awkwardness of kowtowing. Our chance to become stronger is here, Night Sorrow whispered to Jingyan. Then he looked at the gorillas who were kneeling on the ground and roared. Exterminate the Soul Eater race and seize their treasury. These dark creatures were extremely evil by nature. They existed to kill. Night Sorrow had no sympathy for them. Naturally, he would not go easy on them. Kill them all. These words were very provocative. The guerrilla warriors who had been waiting for this order all stood up and charged towards the Soul Eater race. Don't let a single one of them go. The gorillas and the Soul Eater race soon began to fight. Night Sorrow, who was fighting against Devourer, gave an iron-blooded order. Showing mercy to the dark creatures was the same as persecuting the cultivators of the heavenly realm. Night Sorrow would not do such a stupid thing. If not for the fact that killing the dark creatures in public would expose his identity, he would have started a massacre long ago. In this battle, the gorillas had a great advantage. In the end, the gorillas lost more than a dozen high gods. As for the Soul Eater race, other than their leader, Devourer, who was under Night Sorrow's soul control, the other high gods were all killed. Night Sorrow did not care about the gorillas' losses. He would kill these dark creatures sooner or later. Go annihilate the soul-devouring clan, and seize their treasury. Every dark creature was born from evil. Night Sorrow, who controlled Devourer, led the remaining 20 or so high gods to kill all the members of the Soul Eater race in the Soul Eater race's territory. Night Sorrow then controlled Devourer to open the door to the Soul Eater race's treasury. This treasury had existed for countless reincarnations, and had accumulated a large amount of resources. Most of them were dark resources used by the dark races to increase their strength. At the same time, there were also some cultivation resources that Night Sorrow and Jingyan could use. Night Sorrow, who needed the help of the gorilla race's high gods, distributed all the dark resources to the gorillas and chased them out of the treasury. He and Jingyan studied the cultivation resources that the Soul Eater race had snatched. Although the Soul Goblin clan was not very strong in the dark region, they had accumulated a lot of cultivation resources over a long period of time. Night Sorrow found 13 drops of Genesis Essence, and gave them to Jingyan to increase her strength. Jingyan used 10 drops and prepared to slowly absorb them. The other 3 drops were used to treat Ao Qingwu. After absorbing the 3 drops of Genesis essence, Ao Qingwu's injuries rapidly healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. However, perhaps because her soul was too seriously injured, she did not wake up. It was a good thing that Ao Qingwu, who had lost control, did not wake up. Night Sorrow and Jing Yun, who had saved her life, thought that she could avoid a lot of unnecessary trouble. How can I quickly increase my strength? The road to the 1,000 Cavern Mountain will definitely not be easy. If my strength stagnates, I will definitely not be able to complete the task of sealing the Dark Demon Divine Lord. It seems that I need to deal with Devourer in the treasury to obtain the power of virtue. The treasury of the Soul Eater race contained divine artifacts, protective armor, pills, and a large amount of materials for cultivators. If these things were obtained in the divine world, it would definitely be equivalent to a windfall. But in the dark domain, they could not be brought out. Night Sorrow divided some pills into several categories and tied them to his belt. He was ready to summon Devourer and kill it to obtain the power of virtue. But at this time Jing Yun, who had consumed the Genesis essence but had not absorbed it, held a pitch-black spear and handed it to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, if I'm not wrong, this is a high god-level divine artifact, and its grade is very good. Oh, is it? Why can't I see it? The pitch-black spear was covered in dust. It seemed to be a divine artifact with 9 lightning tribulation feathers, but its grade was not as good as the 1,000 catty demon subduing spear that had absorbed the Genesis essence. Night Sorrow had observed it just now, but he did not see that it was a high god-level divine artifact. This is a divine artifact refined by the Phoenix race, using an ancient method. Only the Phoenix race can use their own blood to undo its seal. My bloodline is very pure, so I should be able to undo its seal. Jing Yun explained. She stared at Night Sorrow and asked, if I undo its seal now, will there be any problems? Chapter 2454. It's fine. Other than Gorilla Kuei, those gorillas are mindlessly absorbing dark resources to increase their strength. They don't have time to care about us. Moreover, the Soul Goblin clan's treasury has a natural array. They won't notice if we cause any commotion. Night Sorrow, who knew that nothing would happen, nodded at Jing Yun, indicating that she could begin immediately. The 1,000 catty demon subduing spear had evolved in the Endless Bone realm. It had not undergone any lightning tribulation, so its power was limited. It could deal with a lower high god, but it would be a little difficult to deal with an intermediate high god. As for an upper high god, it could not deal with them at all. Night Sorrow was looking forward to seeing that Jing Yun had discovered a divine weapon refined by the Phoenix clan. He secretly hoped that it would be of a higher grade. Then I'll begin. It should be very powerful. After glancing at Night Sorrow, Jing Yun cut the tip of her finger and poured a drop of sparkling and translucent phoenix blood onto the pitch-black spear. The phoenix blood dripped onto the surface of the spear and was quickly absorbed. However, it did not react at all. This spear doesn't seem simple. It's normal that my drop of phoenix blood can't completely revive it, but it's not responding at all. This means that it's of a very high grade. Jing Yun's face lit up as she continued to pour the phoenix blood onto the spear. 2 drops. 3 drops. After a total of 10 drops, the black spear let out a loud phoenix cry. In an instant, the dusty black spear bloomed with dazzling red flames. The blazing flames were like a phoenix flapping its wings, as if it could burn all evil in the world. It gave people a feeling of great power. Good spear. I'll call you the blazing spear for now. Night Sorrow praised sincerely as he took the blazing spear. Then he held the spear and began to practice his spear art. For a moment, the treasury was filled with roars. This blazing spear is very handy. It should be a high god-level forbidden artifact. I can't use its forbidden power, but it's perfect for fighting in the dark dimension. With it, I can kill an ordinary lower high god with just one shot. After putting away the raging flame spear, Night Sorrow used his dark aura to turn the red flames into black, concealing the aura of his body. There shouldn't be any problems, right? Jing Yun was still worried that the raging flame spear would be exposed. It's fine, don't worry. The most important thing for us now is to increase our strength as quickly as possible. Night Sorrow comforted him and said solemnly, I plan to use Ao Qingwu's matter to head straight to the Thousand Cavern Mountain. Whether our mission is successful or not will soon be decided. All right. I'll do my best to absorb the Genesis essence to strengthen my body. Jingyun nodded with a serious expression. She didn't expect Night Sorrow to be so decisive, and seized the opportunity as soon as it appeared. Originally, she thought that Night Sorrow would take it one step at a time, and gain a firm foothold in the guerrilla clan. After using the resources to become stronger, he would wait for an opportunity to complete the mission. All right, increase your strength as soon as possible. I still have things to do. After instructing Jingyun, Night Sorrow summoned the leader of the Spirit Devourer clan, Devouring Sacrifice, and directly destroyed it and absorbed all the power of virtue it produced. After absorbing Devouring Sacrifice's power of virtue, Night Sorrow's power of virtue suddenly increased by a lot. He was about 60% away from the upper feather god level. In other words, by devouring this mid-level high god, his merit power had increased by 40% compared to when he was a mid-level feather god. It seems that as long as I find a way to kill more dark creatures, my power of virtue will soon reach the peak of the feather god level, which is the half-step high god level. In the endless bone realm and the dark domain, the laws of heaven and earth were not complete, so it was impossible to pass the tribulation. Night Sorrow could only cultivate his power of virtue to the half-step high god level, which he felt a little regretful about. He thought that if he could break through to the merit high god level, he might be able to escape from the attack of a divine lord, or even slightly resist a divine lord. However, the sun waxes and wanes, the moon waxes and wanes. In the southeast, the sky is high, and the earth is not perfect. There is no such thing as perfection in the world. Soon, Night Sorrow felt relieved. He felt that if his power of virtue increased too quickly, other aspects would not be able to keep up. This was detrimental to his state of mind. Leader! Leader! Enemies are attacking. At this moment, Yan Kuei's voice suddenly sounded. Jingyun, enemies are attacking. Take Ao Qingwu and stay by my side. She is very important to us. Don't let her be taken away. Without knowing what the enemy was, Night Sorrow took Jingyun by his side, and walked out of the Spirit Devourer clan's treasury. Yan Kuei, I heard that you were defeated by the Feather God level clansmen, and lost your position as leader. What a joke. The moment Night Sorrow walked out of the treasury, a cold voice was insulting Yan Kuei. This was an extremely large demon. Its green body was surrounded by a black aura, giving off an extremely evil feeling. It was the leader of the Azure Demons, Qing Emperor. Its strength was at the upper greater celestial level, and there were 2 middle greater celestial level Azure Demons on its left and right. Behind the 3 powerhouses were 70 to 80 lower greater celestial level dark creatures. There were Azure Demons and other races. One of them was from the nefarious demon tribe. Night Sorrow had some impression of it. He knew that it was the nefarious demon tribe that had told the Azure Demons about Ao Qingwu. If you were killed by the Feather God level Yan Kuei, wouldn't that be the biggest joke in the world? Night Sorrow retorted on behalf of Yan Kuei. He said disdainfully, Tell me your name. Yan Kuei, don't kill nameless people. You are Yan Kuei, the new leader of the Yan Kuei clan? Qing Emperor shifted his gaze from Yan Kuei to Night Sorrow and roared arrogantly. The leader who will kill you and the Yan Kuei clan today is Qing Emperor. Roar. You deserve to die. Leader, allow us to fight to the death. The leader of the Azure Demons, Qing Emperor, said that he would kill the Yan Kuei clan, which immediately angered the Yan Kuei clan. They had just absorbed a lot of dark resources, and their strength had increased. They were not afraid of fighting at all. What? You're Qing Emperor? You think you're worthy of being called Qing Emperor? Go to hell. Your fate is to be nourishment. The Azure Demon's name was Qing Emperor, which was the opposite of Night Sorrow's master. This enraged him. He took the blazing spear from his back and stabbed it at the Azure Demon. Before the tip of the spear arrived, the Azure Demon was engulfed in black flames. This spear is interesting. It should be from a cultivator. However, you can't unleash its true power when you use it. Facing Yi Shang's spear, the leader of the Azure Demons, the Azure Emperor ferociously slapped out with his huge palm. extinguishing the flames. He then met the blazing spear head-on. He thought that the spear's power was only at the level of a lesser great god, so he didn't think too much of it. A greater great god's body refinement strength is indeed strong, but you underestimate me too much. The Azure demon leader named Qing Emperor carelessly grabbed the blazing spear's tip. Chapter 2455. The 7-star Berserk Fekta was the third layer of the 7-star Berserk technique. It could instantly increase one's strength by 3 times, and the backlash was much smaller than that of the 7th layer. This was a secret technique that Night Sorrow hadn't used in a long time. When these techniques were used together, and the soul-rending evil vanquishing spear was used, the ambush was a complete success. The Qing Emperor, who had obviously underestimated his opponent, had one of his arms blown off. Ah, you deserve to die. The Qing Emperor, who had originally thought that he could kill Night Sorrow, lost one of his arms in a single exchange. He was instantly enraged. He used a secret technique of the Azure Fiend race to increase his strength by several times, and he furiously fought with Night Sorrow. While they were fighting, the people of the 2 clans were constantly shouting, hoping that their leaders would win. The Qing Emperor, who had the strength of a high god, quickly gained the upper hand after using a secret technique to increase his strength. He suppressed Night Sorrow and forced him to retreat. This caused Jing Yun and the warriors of the guerrilla race to worry. Jing Yun clenched her fists tightly. That's the effect I wanted. However, Night Sorrow's expression was relaxed. That was because he had done it on purpose. Dark creatures were extremely fierce and fearless in battle, but they were also very stupid. He purposely showed weakness and waited for the next opportunity. Night Sorrow, who was being suppressed, continued to flee, but he didn't suffer any losses. During this process, he felt the backlash from the 7-star Berserk Fekta. He immediately pulled out a pill from a bottle on his belt and swallowed it. Very quickly, the discomfort caused by the backlash was cured. It's really useful. It seems that I can try to use the 7-star Berserk light shaking art. The pill that Night Sorrow had consumed was called the Soul Recovery Pill. It could instantly restore a cultivator's soul and body. He had found a total of 7 pills. Night Sorrow was full of confidence. On the other side, the Azure Fiend named Qing Emperor was becoming more and more agitated. It seemed to have the upper hand, but it couldn't touch its opponent at all. Every time it attacked, it felt like it was hitting cotton. This feeling was extremely uncomfortable. Do you dare fight me head-on? Qing Emperor yelled angrily as his attacks missed. Good. Then let's fight head-on. You only have 1 arm left. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Qing Emperor's shattered arm was still being burned by the flames and didn't immediately heal. Night Sorrow howled and unleashed the 7-star Berserk light shaking art, instantly increasing his strength by 7 times. He controlled the raging flame spear and shot out the forbidden spear, fusing 10 spears into one. At the crucial moment, Night Sorrow still chose to believe in his own spear art, and not Mo Yoqian's soul-splitting evil executing spear. Boom. This time, Qing Emperor, who had chosen to fight Night Sorrow, had obviously underestimated Night Sorrow's strength. Unexpectedly, he was several times stronger than before. His other arm was also smashed into pieces. Qing Emperor, who had lost both his arms, was no match for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, who had swallowed 2 soul recovery elixirs in a row, suppressed it in a frenzy. In the end, he broke all 4 limbs of the Qing Emperor. He unleashed his dark aura and used his soul power to control the Qing Emperor. The arrogant Qing Emperor didn't expect to be defeated at all. And he didn't expect Night Sorrow to use soul control on him, because the difference in their cultivation levels was too great. Logically speaking, the difference in soul power should be too great. However, he soon discovered that he was wrong, very wrong. Night Sorrow had the Tao Comprehension Wine, which provided him with surging soul power. The name Qing Emperor isn't something trash like you can have. Today, you will die without a doubt. But before that, I will change your name. From now on, you will be called Qing Gue, because you will soon become a corpse. After successfully controlling the Qing Emperor, Night Sorrow said coldly, then looked at the other Qing demons. He ordered, warriors of the gorilla clan, attack. After that, we will attack their treasury. Among the Qing demons experts, there were 2 mid-level high gods and 70 to 80 low-level high gods. However, on Night Sorrow's side there was not only him, but also Qing Gui, who was under his control, and Gorilla Kuei. After the battle began, Night Sorrow was like a tiger in a flock of sheep. He almost crippled one with each spear strike. Soon, the gorilla clan completely gained the upper hand. This time, try to leave no one alive. I want to devour them one by one. Night Sorrow yelled evilly. How could the remaining 20 or so warriors of the gorilla clan not obey? When the battle ended, a total of 31 high gods, including the 2 mid-level high gods, were captured. Go to the Qing demons and destroy them all. Then come back here and wait for me. Night Sorrow, who had no mercy for the Qing demons, brought all 31 high gods into the Soul Goblin clan's treasury. He killed them one by one, and turned them all into power of virtue. After absorbing their power of virtue, Night Sorrow's power of virtue was successfully promoted to the High God Feather God level. It seems that using virtue to prove one's Tao is the path I should take in the future. Although his power of virtue increased very quickly, Night Sorrow did not have any inner demons in his heart. In fact, he felt very good. He had a clearer view of the future. Moreover, he had another idea about the trip to the Thousand Cavern Mountain. This was the change brought to him by the great increase in his strength. However, Night Sorrow had absorbed too much power of virtue. The holy aura around him was too strong, and the dark aura could not be suppressed. Jingyun, the holy aura on me is too strong. If I go out now, I will definitely be discovered. I need to go into seclusion for a while. Take Ao Qinggu with you and stay with me in the treasury. Worried about Jingyun and Ao Qinggu's safety, Night Sorrow let them stay in the treasury. He tried his best to absorb the dark aura, hoping to suppress the holy aura around him as soon as possible. This sounded simple, but it was actually very time-consuming. In the end, Night Sorrow used 30 years to barely suppress the holy aura around him. What made him and Jingyun feel strange was that after so many years, Ao Qingwu's body had completely recovered, and her vitality was very strong. However, she still did not wake up. There should be a big problem with her soul. I think that she might have destroyed her soul. This body is now just an empty shell. Looking at Ao Qingwu's sleeping appearance, Jingyun said with an ugly expression. She had been in the God realm for much longer than Night Sorrow and had seen more. It seems that her soul was really tortured, so she chose to free herself. I wonder if she can be saved in this situation? Night Sorrow asked with a frown. As the feather god of virtue, he had the feeling of being compassionate. It should be possible to treat her, but I don't know how. Jingyun said helplessly. Sigh. Forget it. Let's not talk about this. If we can successfully complete the mission and escape from the dark domain, we can talk about this. After pondering for a while, Night Sorrow shook his head. Because he had absorbed too much power of virtue and wasted 30 years, he did not want to waste any more time to avoid any more problems. Jingyun, we will soon enter the Thousand Cave Mountain. Are you afraid? Before walking out of the treasury, Night Sorrow looked at Jingyun with a smile. Of course I'm afraid, but for High Bay City, I still have to go. Jingyun nodded seriously. Night Sorrow shook his head and said, No, you have done enough. Leave the rest to me. Give me the divine talisman. Also, take Ao Qinggu with you. Entering the Thousand Cave Mountain was very dangerous. There were not only divine sovereigns, but also many half-step divine sovereigns. Night Sorrow could not even guarantee his own safety, so he did not want to take Jingyun with him. If I take Ao Qinggu with me, you have no reason to go to the Thousand Cave Mountain. I can't go. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Jingyun understood that Night Sorrow was afraid that she and Ao Qinggu would be in danger, so he changed his plan. No. My strength is the reason. You have to believe that I have a way. Chapter 2456. Alright, this might be the best choice. After pondering for a while, Jingyun slowly nodded in agreement. She took out the divine talisman and handed it to Night Sorrow. Originally, she felt that her strength was about the same as Night Sorrow's, but after entering the dark domain, she realized that the difference between their actual combat strength was like heaven and earth. If she fought with her life on the line, She might be able to defeat a high-level high god dark creature, but she would have to pay a heavy price. Night Sorrow, on the other hand, defeated a high-level high god with the help of pills. Moreover, he did not use the power of virtue. If he used it, there were not many dark creatures in the dark domain that could suppress him. If she forced herself to stay, she might become a burden. Don't worry, I will definitely turn the dark domain upside down. Now there are not many in the dark domain that can suppress me. Night Sorrow's deep eyes were filled with determination. This was the confidence brought to him by his increase in strength. Then he brought Jingyun Ao Qinggu and the remaining 20 high gods of the gorilla race back to the gorilla race's territory. When they arrived at the gorilla race's territory, Night Sorrow asked Yen Kuei to contact the important figures of the Thousand Cave Mountain and tell them about Ao Qinggu, hoping to get a chance to go to the Thousand Cave Mountain. But after confirming that Ao Qinggu was captured, Divine Lord Anhun chose to send an envoy to the gorilla race's territory, not giving the gorilla race a chance at all. The envoy was a half-step Divine Lord Dark Demon. Night Sorrow was surprised to see this. He thought to himself, there aren't many half-step Divine Lord Dark creatures in the entire Dark Domain. They actually sent one just to pick up Ao Qinggu, who has already been captured. Could it be that Ao Qinggu has a secret that we don't know about? Or does she have a special value to the Thousand Cave Mountain? No matter what, let's send them out of the Dark Domain first. At this time, Jing Yun, who was with Ao Qinggu, had not left. Night Sorrow gave an order to send the gorilla race's warriors away and send them back to the giant pit through the passage. With Jing Yun's strength, it was not difficult to deal with the gorillas in the giant pit. He was not worried at all, so he did not accompany them out. After that, Night Sorrow asked Yen Kuei to open the gorilla clan's treasury and search for useful resources. He wanted to increase his strength as much as possible, so that he could kill the emissary sent by Sir God Anhun and snatch his Sir God token. The Divine Lord token was a token issued by Divine Lord Dark Soul. With the Divine Lord token in hand, one would not be attacked when passing through the Dark Race's territory. If he succeeded, Night Sorrow would be able to pass through the territories of many dark races and reach the Thousand Cavern Mountain without shedding a single drop of blood. The Thousand Cave Mountain was very big. As long as Night Sorrow could reach it safely, he would have a chance to seal the Dark Demon Divine Lord. He was an invincible Divine Lord of the Dark Domain. If he was freed from the seal, it would be a fatal blow to High Bay City. As for the Divine Lord Order, the only thing that Night Sorrow wasn't sure about was whether Sir God Anhun would discover him if he killed the half-step Divine Lord Dark Demon or controlled him. Forget it, there's no other choice anyway. We can only do our best and leave the rest to fate. After sending off Jing Yun and Ao Qinggu, Night Sorrow no longer had any worries. He decided on a strategy and began to search for useful resources in the gorilla clan's treasury. The gorilla clan's treasury had obviously existed for a longer time than the Spirit Devourer clan's treasury, so there were relatively more resources. However, most of them were darkness resources and various divine artifacts. At present, Night Sorrow didn't have much use for them. He only had a few bottles of pills that had yet to lose their effects. To him, the most useful thing was still the Spirit Recovery Pill. He found 6 pills this time, and with the remaining 4 he had a total of 10 pills. It was enough to support him to use the 7-star Berserk Light Shaking Art 5 times. Next was the Genesis Essence. Night Sorrow's body and the 1,000-kilogram demon subduing spear had both absorbed the Genesis Essence. However, the Raging Flame Spear that had just been unsealed by Jing Yun clearly hadn't been strengthened by the Genesis Essence. Night Sorrow poured the 17 drops of Genesis Essence he found onto the Raging Flame Spear, allowing it to freely absorb them. The speed at which a divine artifact absorbed the Genesis Essence was clearly much faster than a cultivator. Very soon, the Raging Flame Spear in the Gorilla Clan's treasury released a resonant phoenix cry. Not only did the spear body become more solid, the flames on the spear body also became more dazzling. The Raging Flame Spear was originally a high god level taboo divine artifact. Now that it has been strengthened by the Genesis Essence, it's already infinitely close to the Divine Lord level. It should be enough to fight against the half-step Divine Lord Dark Demon Envoy. After using the Raging Flame Spear to perform a set of spear arts, Night Sorrow was certain that this was the strongest divine weapon he could use. After obtaining the pills for battle, and completing the strengthening of the Raging Flame Spear, Night Sorrow set his sights on the Azure Phoenix battle armor that Jing Yun had given him. The current Blue Phoenix battle armor could withstand the attacks of a lower high god without the use of divine Yuan Qi. If this were in Seaside City, it would definitely be a heaven-defying divine artifact. But in front of a half-step Divine Lord Realm Dark Demon Emissary, it was clearly nothing. There were still a few months until the Dark Demon Envoy arrived. On this day, Night Sorrow ordered Yen Kuei to gather all the High God warriors of the Gorilla Clan. Standing in front of the leader's throne, he ordered, "After the nefarious Demon Clan lost to us, they sent someone to inform the Azure Demon Clan. If not for my strength, the entire Gorilla Clan would have been annihilated. Today we will exterminate the nefarious Demon Clan. Moreover, we will attack their treasury. We obey the leader's orders. Exterminate the nefarious Demon Clan." More than 20 gorillas, including Yen Kuei, erupted with powerful auras. Their overall strength had increased by a lot because they had absorbed a large amount of darkness resources. 2 of them had reached the middle high god realm. They worshipped Night Sorrow so much that they would fight to the death for him. "Let's go. With Yen Kuei leading the way, we will exterminate the entire nefarious Demon Clan." Under Night Sorrow's command, the group of 20 gorillas headed straight for the nefarious Demon Clan's lair. The nefarious Demon Clan and the Gorilla Clan were very close to the Soul Devourer Clan. Therefore, the distance between the two clans was not far. In less than a day, Night Sorrow led the Gorilla Clan warriors to the barren mountain where the nefarious Demon Clan resided. Kill. Night Sorrow did not have the slightest bit of pity for the dark creatures, because they did not have a heart of compassion. They only knew how to kill, and would not show any mercy to any life. Under his command, Yen Kuei and the other gorillas immediately entered battle mode. "I knew that your Gorilla Clan would come. This time, you will all be annihilated." At this moment, the leader of the nefarious Demon Clan, Xiakuan, appeared on the peak of the barren mountain. After roaring, he pointed at Night Sorrow and said in a bloodthirsty voice, "Yen Kuei, you think you are invincible, but you don't know that I have already made preparations. I have already joined forces with Overlord Moci. The leader of the Dark Demon Ape Clan, Moci? If you are joining forces, why don't you attack the Gorilla Clan's territory directly?" Night Sorrow asked in confusion. After reading Yen Kuei's memories, he knew about the Dark Demon Ape Clan. They were very similar to the gorillas, and there was an inexplicable connection between the two clans. However, they were very powerful, and had never placed the Gorilla Clan in their eyes. The leader of the Dark Demon Ape Clan, Moci, was infinitely close to a half-step Divine Lord. He was the strongest clan leader in the surrounding million miles. With the Dark Demon Ape Clan's strength and the nefarious Demon Clan, they could completely crush the Gorilla Clan. Chapter 2457. There's nothing strange about that. Our ancestors left a rule that the Dark Demon Apes are never allowed to step into the territory of the Gorilla tribe. Otherwise, the entire tribe will be annihilated. The leader of the Dark Demon Apes, Moci, smiled coldly. "But since you're here, I won't be going against the rules. It seems that your ancestors had foresight and knew that you'd be annihilated if you angered the Gorilla tribe. You should have listened to them." Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment before he shook his head. He thought that there was something fishy about this. But now, it seemed that the ancestors of the Dark Demon Apes had some divination ability, and knew that the Dark Demon Apes would be annihilated. "You want to annihilate the Dark Demon Apes with just 20 low-level high gods? What a joke. Warriors, kill them." The leader of the Dark Demon Apes, Moci, mocked and gave the order. "Kill." After receiving the order, the Dark Demon Apes and nefarious devils, as well as 100 high gods, charged towards the gorillas. They obviously had the advantage in numbers. "Gorilla tribe, follow me and kill them all." Night Sorrow didn't panic at all in the face of the powerful enemies. He took the blazing spear and 1,000 catty demon subduing spear from his back, and charged at the front of the group. Like a tiger in a flock of sheep, he led the high gods of the gorilla tribe to kill. In the blink of an eye, he killed several opponents. It seems that you have some skills, but your opponent is me. Although Night Sorrow's strength wasn't high, his battle prowess was clearly outstanding. He had continuously caused the Dark Demon Ape and Evil Demon to lose their battle prowess. The leader of the Dark Demon Ape clan, MOCI, saw that the situation wasn't right and immediately charged aggressively at Yi Shan. He was infinitely close to a half-step Divine Lord and wasn't easy to deal with. Night Sorrow used Essence Chi Smoke and Star's Tyrant Body to fight him. He also put the 1,000 Catty Demon Subduing Spear on his back and used the Blazing Spear to fight. The strengthened Raging Flame Spear kept spewing out black flames during the battle, which made Magic Thorn, who was an expert in close combat, very angry. It fiercely swung the Warhammer in its hand, but it couldn't touch Night Sorrow. Roar! I'm going to crush your bones, coward. If you continue to fight like this, the Gorilla Clan will definitely be wiped out. After attacking dozens of times in a row, it still couldn't touch Night Sorrow. Moreover, it was being burned to the point that it couldn't bear it any longer. The Devil Thorn was so angry that it kept roaring. At this time, without Night Sorrow's help, the gorillas were indeed in a passive position. For lesser high gods were killed one after another. The Gorilla Clan might be completely annihilated. However, the Dark Demonic Ape and the Nefarious Devil Race will definitely take the lead. Seeing that the gorillas were at a complete disadvantage, Night Sorrow diverted some of his attention to attack some of the high gods of the two races while holding back the Devil Thorn. Almost every strike of his spear took away a high god's fighting strength. With Night Sorrow's continuous success, the Gorilla Clan quickly stabilized the situation. Seeing that the situation wasn't good, the leader of the Nefarious Devil Race, Xiaokuan, who had been defeated by Night Sorrow, got rid of a medium-high god of the Gorilla Clan, and cooperated with the Devil Thorn to attack Night Sorrow. With its help, the Devil Thorn quickly stopped Night Sorrow's momentum. However, it was only stopping. The two of them didn't have much of an advantage against Night Sorrow, especially Xiaokuan, who almost had his head pierced by the spear. How did its strength increase so quickly? This spear is a little strange. Although Xiaokuan lost to Night Sorrow the last time, the difference between the two of them wasn't that big. Now, it found that it was very difficult to resist Night Sorrow's casual attack. It couldn't help but panic. If it wasn't for the divine weapon in your hand, you would have been torn to shreds. The Devil Thorn's strength was extremely strong, but it also felt that the flame spear was very difficult to deal with. Divine weapons are also part of one's strength. Night Sorrow, who was testing the might of the flame spear, retorted. His spear technique was quite impressive, which was why he could control the flame spear. At this moment, the Demon Gorilla Race's high god was gradually unable to hold on. They were beaten up by the group, and several of them were killed in succession. Including Gorilla Kuei, there were only 12 of them left. Night Sorrow, who was observing this situation, thought that since he had confirmed the might of the flame spear, it was time to use it. He directly used the 7-star Berserk Light Shaking Art, instantly increasing his strength by 7 times. Night Sorrow, who was originally able to hold his own against his opponent, had his strength increased by 7 times. The battle clearly took a turn for the better. Xiaokuan's body was instantly smashed to pieces by the spear, and only his head was left rolling on the ground. It's really hard to control the speed of his strength. This guy only has his head left. Can he still open the Demon Gorilla Race's treasury? Night Sorrow felt a little awkward after almost killing Xiaokuan. He had come here today mainly for the Demon Gorilla Race's treasury to find some materials to upgrade the Azure Phoenix battle armor. How can a mid-tier Demon Gorilla Race leader unleash such a powerful attack? This is impossible. Absolutely impossible. After witnessing Night Sorrow's strength with his own eyes, Devil Thorn immediately felt that something was wrong. As a dark demon ape, he had a good understanding of the Demon Gorilla Race. He knew that it was impossible for such a heaven-defying person to appear in the Demon Gorilla Race. In fact, not only the Demon Gorilla Race, but all the dark races did not have a genius who could fight across so many levels. You are a God Realm cultivator. We were actually deceived by you for so long. Thinking of this, Devil Thorn immediately took out a sound transmission stone unique to the dark races, and prepared to inform the Thousand Cavern Mountain that Night Sorrow was a God Realm cultivator. You are the God Realm cultivator. You can't win, so you want to frame your opponent. So your dark demon ape race is this despicable. Take my forbidden spear. Devil Thorn's voice was very loud, and many of the dark creatures present heard it clearly. Night Sorrow, who did not want to be exposed for the time being, found a random excuse and used the flame spear to fire the forbidden spear. With the support of Essence Chi Smoke, Star's hegemonic body, and 7 Stars Berserk, this spear instantly shattered half of Devil Thorn's body. Night Sorrow then continued to attack, making Devil Thorn suffer the same fate as Xiekoen. His body was completely destroyed, and only a large head was left. As long as I go all out, defeating dark creatures below the half-step Divine Lord level is not difficult. After defeating Devil Thorn, Night Sorrow had a deeper understanding of his own strength. However, he was not sure if he could defeat a true half-step Divine Lord, because the gap between the two had reached a critical point. Exterminate the Dark Demon Ape race and the Nefarious Demon race. After defeating the leaders of the two races, Night Sorrow immediately joined the battle. The Demon Gorilla race's High God did not doubt Devil Thorn's words. After Night Sorrow joined the battle immediately became one-sided. None of the Demon Gorilla race fell. None of the High Gods of the other two races escaped, and almost all of them were killed. After taking complete control of the situation, Night Sorrow controlled Xiekoen to open the treasury of the Nefarious Demon race. After plundering everything, he smashed Xiekoen to death with a single punch, turning him into power of virtue. At this moment, Night Sorrow's merit energy had reached a critical point, and he could not absorb any more. Otherwise, he would not be able to suppress it, and it would explode in the Dark Precinct. Night Sorrow could easily leave by exploding his merit energy at the border of the Dark Precinct, but that would affect his plan to seal the Dark Demon Emperor. So he gave up on killing Devil Thorn. He let Devil Thorn lead him and the other High Gods of the Demon Gorilla race to sweep the treasury of the Dark Demon Ape race clean. Chapter 2458. With the support of powerful resources, Night Sorrow raised the strength of the Azure Phoenix battle armor to the level of a High God. This was already the result of his best efforts, and it was impossible for him to raise it any further. At this point, in order to welcome the half-step Divine Lord Emissary of the Thousand Cavern Mountain, Night Sorrow had upgraded everything he could. He was already close to his peak. My strength has increased too quickly recently. Although I don't have any inner demons, I still need to settle down. In the past few days he had been fighting continuously and killing a lot. Night Sorrow returned to the territory of the gorilla race and entered seclusion, quietly waiting for the emissary to arrive. After calming down, Night Sorrow missed his family on Night Moon Island. Although only a few months had passed in the divine world, he had already spent thousands of years in the endless bone realm. His longing for his family increased with each passing day. He wanted to return to his family and spend some peaceful time with them. The endless bone realm and the dark precinct were too lonely, making him feel depressed. However, the responsibility in front of him was so great that he naturally wouldn't give it up. I hope I can successfully seal the Dark Demon Divine Lord. Otherwise, even if I return to High Bay City, I won't be able to find peace. If he failed, the Dark Demon Divine Lord would break the seal within 1,000 years. As long as it broke the seal, the Dark Precinct wouldn't be able to break free from the suppression of the Endless Bone Realm for long. Based on what Yishang knew about High Bay City, it was impossible for them to resist the invasion of the Dark Precinct. But now, it seemed that the safety of High Bay City was completely dependent on him. If I can seal the Dark Demon Divine Lord and gain enough time to cultivate, I will definitely be able to resist the Dark Demon Divine Lord in the future. As he thought about how he had fought against Dark Fiend Divine Monarch, Yishang also thought about Wu Lingfei. He thought to himself, Auntie Fei, my strength has increased very quickly. I will be able to rescue you in the near future. Night Sorrow, who had been fighting all this time and was somewhat tired, laid on the stone slab and slept for several days. Leader, the emissary of the Thousand Cave Mountain has arrived. He is very angry that you didn't go to welcome him. On this day, Yen Kuei entered the treasury after asking for instructions. He's finally here. As long as you're here, it doesn't matter if you're angry or not. Hearing Gorilla Kuei's words, Knight Sorrow revealed a smile. He lazily got up and walked out of the Gorilla Clan's treasury. You are the new leader of the Gorilla Clan, Gorilla Death? It's fine if you don't welcome me, but you still don't kneel down and greet me after seeing me? Who gave you the guts? The envoy of the Thousand Cavern Mountain, Anku, was a bloated dark demon. His body was greenish-black, and he exuded an extremely evil aura. It was very strong, much stronger than the devil thorn that Knight Sorrow had defeated. Seeing Knight Sorrow appear, he immediately roared. Where is the Divine Lord token? I want to confirm your identity first. Knight Sorrow asked calmly as he faced the enraged Anku. What he cared about was naturally not the emissary, but the Divine Lord token in the other party's hand. You are courting death. You dare to question this envoy with just you. Looks like you won't be obedient if I don't teach you a lesson. Anku was a lofty existence in the Thousand Cavern Mountain, so he was naturally incomparably arrogant in front of Knight Sorrow. He didn't even ask about Ao Qinggu, and directly slapped at Knight Sorrow's head. On the surface, he said that he wanted to teach Knight Sorrow a lesson, but he was going for the kill. It was obvious that he wanted to slap him to death. In fact, as long as he found the right clan, he didn't care about the life or death of a certain person. Killing without a word. Dark creatures are indeed very murderous. But you came at the right time. I also want to kill you. Through Gorilla Kuei, Knight Sorrow had already confirmed Nku's identity. He knew that the Divine Lord token was on him, so he didn't waste any more words. He quickly activated Essence Chi Smoke in Star's tyrannical body, and used the blazing spear to execute the forbidden spear. Boom. After the blazing spear collided with Nku's palm, Knight Sorrow was immediately sent flying. The strength of a half-step Divine Lord was indeed powerful. Knight Sorrow was no match for him at all. If not for the Blue Phoenix armor reducing a lot of the damage, he might have been injured in one round. Such powerful strength. A half-step Divine Lord is indeed powerful, many times stronger than that demonic thorn. After being sent flying, Knight Sorrow realized that this battle wasn't simple. You're a human cultivator. I participated in the last battle, so I can recognize your aura. Anku, who sent Knight Sorrow flying, roared angrily. You're a human cultivator. How dare you sneak into the dark region? Who gave you the courage? Anku had encountered all kinds of cultivators in the battle against High Bay City. When Knight Sorrow attacked, he realized that something was wrong. What's so scary about the dark region? I think it's just Esotho. At this point, Knight Sorrow didn't refute Nku's accusation. He knew that this time, he had really exposed himself. Roar. You're really a human cultivator. Gorilla Kuei was right. After hearing Knight Sorrow's words, all the members of the Gorilla Clan except for Gorilla Kuei glared at him. Each and every one of them looked like they wanted to eat him alive. Only Gorilla Kuei stood behind Knight Sorrow with a dull look on his face. It was ironic. Since you know, then come at me together. Knight Sorrow had been hiding himself all this time. Although he didn't want to alert the enemy, there was no way he could hide it after Nku's battle back then. Since there was no way to hide it, he might as well fight in peace. Other than using the Divine Lord token to sneak into the Thousand Cavern Mountain, Knight Sorrow had a backup plan, so he didn't panic. Human cultivator, I'm very curious. With your strength, how can you still be so calm? Nku laughed wickedly and ordered. Dark Demon Clan, listen to my order. Cooperate with this emissary and capture this human emissary alive. The dark creatures were only known as the Dark Demon Clan to outsiders. Hearing Nku's order, the warriors of the Gorilla Clan went berserk as if they were injected with endless energy. Come, I'll kill to my heart's content today. Also, you should take care of your own lives. You want to capture me alive? Ridiculous. Since his identity was completely exposed, Knight Sorrow no longer held back and directly used the golden power of virtue to protect his body. With the protection of the High God's power of virtue, his strength instantly increased qualitatively. With the support of the Essence Chi Smoke, the Star's tyrant body, and the power of virtue, every time he waved the Raging Flame Spear, he would reap the life of a dark creature. He didn't need to deliberately control his strength, making him feel very carefree. One by one, the dark creatures exploded and turned into golden power of virtue, which was continuously absorbed by Night Sorrow. He also entered a state where the more he fought, the stronger he became. Divine Lord Hun, a human cultivator, has been found in the territory of the gorilla clan. He has a merit deity position, and is not easy to deal with. Seeing that Night Sorrow was the merit feather god, Anku took out a voice transmission stone, and reported the matter to Divine Lord Hun, then used a secret technique to join the battle. Good. Let me test the strength of a half-step Divine Lord. The other dark creatures are no match for you. Facing Anku, who was second only to Divine Lord Hun and a few other existences in the dark domain, Night Sorrow, who hadn't transformed into a human for thousands of years, stood proudly on the spot after returning to his original body. Chapter 2459. It had already been over 1,000 years since Yi Sorrow had taken on the appearance of a gorilla. Now that he had regained his original appearance as a human cultivator, he no longer had to deliberately act like a gorilla. A surge of heroic spirit surged from his chest. After recovering, he held a spear in his hand and stood tall like a god of war. He stood alone against the entire dark domain, but he wasn't afraid at all. He had the aura of someone who could face tens of thousands of enemies head-on. Raging Flame Spear, burn away the aura of darkness and restore your original appearance. Facing the ferocious half-step Divine Lord Anku, Night Sorrow pointed his flame spear at the sky and roared. The flame spear that had been covered by the aura of darkness immediately let out a resonant phoenix cry, burning away all the aura of darkness. Powerful flames soared into the sky, burning in the direction of Anku's attack. You have some skill, but to me this kind of attack is a bit too immature. Facing the flame spear, Anku smiled eerily. His figure disappeared from where he stood, appearing in another direction like a ghost. Once a dark creature reached the half-step Divine Lord realm, whether it was in terms of body strength or speed, both had undergone a qualitative increase. It easily dodged the burning flame spear. Although you have a virtuous godhood position, your body refinement level is too low. You are not my opponent at all. After dodging an attack, Anku attacked Night Sorrow dozens of times in the blink of an eye. Its figure was as fast as a ghost. Night Sorrow couldn't keep up with the continuous attacks. He was hit 4 or 5 times in a row. Luckily, he had the help of the Blue Phoenix battle armor to offset a lot of the damage. He only felt some blood flow problems and wasn't seriously injured. A half-step Divine Lord is indeed not easy to deal with. Its speed is so astonishing. I'm not its opponent at all. It looks like I have to use all my cards. I can't hold back against such an existence. Although Night Sorrow had used Essence Chi Smoke, Star's tyrannical body, and virtuous energy, he had only used 50% of his virtuous energy. This sort of strength was enough to attack any dark life form below the half-step Divine Lord realm. But it clearly wasn't enough to deal with Dark Wither. It was only the characteristics of the power of virtue that made Dark Wither a little wary. Seeing that the situation was not looking good, Night Sorrow immediately unleashed the power of merit to the maximum. His body was completely enveloped by the golden light. The power of merit that had been raised to the level of an upper-level feather god was like the light of Buddha, giving people a sense of holiness and peace. This aura was the bane of all dark creatures. To dark creatures, this was even more lethal than the flaming spear. Besides the half-step Divine Lord Anku, no other dark creatures dared to approach within 100 miles of Night Sorrow. What a powerful fire of virtue! Facing Night Sorrow's power of virtue, Dark Wither felt as if his soul was being roasted. His entire body felt extremely uncomfortable, as if his soul was being burned. Secret art, darkness strengthening. Anku, who had originally looked down on Night Sorrow, immediately used a secret technique to increase his strength by several times. Dark Wither's originally greenish-black body immediately grew 10 times larger, as if he had turned into an ancient giant beast. His entire body was shrouded in a dark aura, and his aura was clearly strengthened. Human Cultivator. After Dark Wither's body grew larger, he raised his palm and directly covered Night Sorrow's entire body. Then like Mount Tai, he viciously slammed down. Fire of virtue, Burn for me. This time, Night Sorrow didn't use the flaming spear to fight back against Dark Wither's attack. As he dodged, he transformed the power of virtue around him into a golden dragon that burned towards Dark Wither's giant palm. The power of virtue was the bane of all evil creatures. After being burned by it, Dark Wither immediately let out a miserable howl. The golden dragon of virtue quickly burned through Dark Wither's entire body. No matter what Dark Wither used, he couldn't extinguish the flames. This made him extremely angry. Human cultivator. Without this damned flame protecting your body, let's see how you resist my strongest attack. Dark Wither couldn't extinguish the fire of virtue at all. Dark Wither's body was burned with many wounds. Dark Wither was thoroughly enraged, and was ready to use his strongest attack. Dark Destruction. In his suffering, Dark Wither's face was filled with malevolence as he took out a pitch-black trident from his back, and threw it at Night Sorrow with an aura that could destroy heaven and earth. The pitch-black trident was extremely fast, and as it flew through the air, there was the sound of space exploding. This was Dark Wither's strongest attack, Dark Destruction. Its aura was extremely shocking. This attack is very strong. It should be a move that can only be used by someone who has comprehended some Divine Lord laws. Dark Wither's attack made Night Sorrow feel as if his soul had been locked onto. He felt that no matter how he dodged, he wouldn't be able to dodge this dark trident. Since I can't dodge, I'll just have to take it head-on. With his heart as clear as a mirror, Night Sorrow immediately used the 7-star Berserk light-shaking art, and used the Raging Flame Spear to strike out with the Soul-Splitting Evil Vanquishing Spear. After using the Soul-Splitting Evil Vanquishing Spear with his strongest strength, Night Sorrow suddenly felt his heart palpitate. A strange feeling appeared in the depths of his soul. But this feeling was fleeting and he couldn't grasp it. Boom! After the Raging Flame Spear and Dark Wither's trident collided, everything within 10,000 miles collapsed. Where Night Sorrow had been, a massive crater thousands of miles deep had been blasted into the ground. Weak ant that can't withstand a single blow. Dark Wither withdrew his trident. He felt that under his strongest attack, Night Sorrow would definitely be instantly killed. He coldly roared, "Ant? If your strongest attack is only this strong, then you have the nerve to call me an ant that can't withstand a single blow? A half-step Divine Lord is nothing more than this." At this time, Night Sorrow slowly crawled out from the rubble. The Raging Flame Spear had received the greatest impact from that strike. Visible cracks had already appeared on the Scarlet Spear's body. As for Night Sorrow, the Blue Phoenix battle armor on his body was severely damaged, but it wasn't completely destroyed. What pained him the most was that the pill bottles hanging from his belt had all been reduced to powder. Only the few Divine Soul Recovery pills he held in his hand remained intact. What surprised Night Sorrow the most was that the gourd containing the Enlightenment wine was completely undamaged. You endured the burning of the karmic sin flames and used your strongest attack. You're clearly staking everything on this one throw. Let's see what you can do now. The Raging Flame Spear had received too great of an impact and countless cracks had already appeared on it. Night Sorrow swallowed a pill and immediately recovered. He drank a large mouthful of Enlightenment wine and allowed his soul to recover. Then he fused the Raging Flame Spear and the 1,000-ton Demon Vanquishing Spear together, instantly forming a brand new spear. This spear's aura was a bit strange. The spear's body was a jade green color, but it burned with a fiery red flame. I'll call you the Raging Flame Demon Vanquishing Spear. After the fusion, the spear's aura was infinitely close to that of a Divine Lord. The flames around it contained a very violent energy. Holding the scorching hot spear in his hand, Night Sorrow felt as if he could control the power of heaven and earth. This allowed him to comprehend a brand new spear art. It was the exclusive spear art of the Raging Flame Spear, Demon Vanquishing Flames. Let's try out the forbidden spear art I just comprehended, Demon Vanquishing Flames. With a loud shout, Night Sorrow suddenly soared into the sky. He waved the Raging Flame Spear, and used the spear art he just comprehended. In an instant, countless streaks of flames shot towards Nku's location like flowing light. The pitch-black domain of darkness was completely lit up by the flames. This was a large-scale fire attack. Although Nku's speed was astonishing, it wasn't covered by the flames at all. It couldn't dodge at all. Faced with the dual burning of demon-vanquishing flames, and the flames of merit, Enku roared crazily. Almost all the other dark creatures nearby were burned to death. They turned into streaks of golden power of merit, and flew into Night Sorrow's body. In a short period of time, his power increased again. His power of merit was close to the peak of the Divine Feather Realm, which was half a step into the upper Divine Realm. At this time, Enku was half dead from the flames and had completely lost the ability to resist. As long as he killed Enku, Night Sorrow could immediately raise his power of merit to the upper Divine Realm. This was the highest level he could reach in the domain of darkness. Enough, human. Chapter 2460. This voice gave off an extremely evil feeling. After being berated by this voice, Yishan felt as if his soul had suffered a heavy blow. This was the pressure of a higher life form, which made him feel very uncomfortable. Night Sorrow reacted immediately. It was Sir God and Hun, the strongest person in Dark Sector. Even if you're a Sir God, you can't stop me from killing Enku. The voice came from far away. It would take Sir God and Hun some time to get there. Night Sorrow, who felt uncomfortable in his soul, took out the enlightenment wine gourd and gulped down a few mouthfuls. After the enlightenment wine entered his stomach, he immediately felt calm and his soul no longer trembled. The enlightenment wine is indeed magical. I feel much better. Night Sorrow sighed. After his soul calmed down, he held the roaring flame demon spear and struck Enku with the forbidden spear. Enku, who had been burned by the double flames, was already badly battered. Faced with the roaring flame demon spear, which was close to the level of a Sir God, his mountain-like body was immediately penetrated by the spear. You're dead. No one can save you. Night Sorrow, who had the upper hand, continued to strike with the roaring flame demon spear. Enku was unable to fight back. If you dare to kill me, the Sir God will avenge me. Even a gold-bodied Sir God who barged into Dark Sector had his body smashed. You won't have a good ending either. Enku roared unwillingly. You're a cold and evil creature of darkness. You don't have to worry about that. Die. Since he had decided to kill Enku, Night Sorrow naturally wouldn't show any mercy. He continued to wield the spear that was glowing in red light. It didn't take long for Enku to explode. He turned into golden power of virtue and entered Night Sorrow's body, raising his power of virtue to the peak of the Divine Feather Realm. In other words, he was half a step into the Divine Feather Realm. What a powerful feeling. It should be easier to face a half-step Sir God. However, I'm still no match for Sir God and Hun. After raising his power of merit to the peak of Divine Feather Realm, Night Sorrow felt comfortable, and his strength had increased by several times. But he was well aware that there was a massive disparity between him and the Divine Lord Realm. It was impossible for him to directly resist. However, this is a rare opportunity. Since we've already fought to this point, we might as well continue until the seal of the Dark Demon Divine Lord is strengthened. Night Sorrow, who knew the difference between him and Sir God and Hun, did not take the opportunity to escape from the dark region before Sir God and Hun descended. Instead, he drank a few more mouthfuls of Tao Comprehension wine to further improve his soul and mental state. Then, he charged toward the nearby dark races and robbed them of their treasuries to repair the Blue Phoenix armor and Inferno demon-subduing spear. In less than 3 days, Night Sorrow's condition had reached its peak. Ants, you know that I'm coming, yet you still dare to covet the resources of the dark dimension. You really don't know what's good for you. Do you think you have the strength of a gold-bodied divine monarch? How foolish. Not long after Night Sorrow recovered, a huge body descended from the sky. Sir God and Hun had officially descended with boundless might. Like Enku, it belonged to the Dark Demon clan, but its body was much larger, like a mountain. The surrounding dark aura was so dense that it was like a fog. It covered its entire body, and one could not see its appearance clearly. Sir God and Hun? Night Sorrow knew that you would come, but I didn't leave. What can you do to me? Night Sorrow, who was holding the Inferno demon-subduing spear, pointed at Sir God and Hun in the distance. The surrounding dark aura was so dense that he could not see it clearly. He could only point to a general direction. The dark aura that Sir Godin Hun gave off was strong and evil. It exerted great pressure on the soul. If it was not for the Tao comprehension wine, Night Sorrow would not be able to withstand it. Even without Sir Godin Hun taking action, his soul would be controlled directly. Ants that don't know what's good for you. How dare you offend me? You will not die with any dignity if you do this. I will control you and make you my slave forever. Sir Godin Hun's voice was eerie as though it came from hell. The surrounding dark aura was overflowing, and there was a sense of oppression as though it was in control of the entire situation. So what if I offend you? You are just a trashy low-rank Sir God hiding in the darkness region. Do you really think that you are the divine king or the dominator? Night Sorrow took out the divine talisman that Mo Yuqian had prepared and said with a terrifying aura. Do you think that you can withstand an attack from this divine talisman? Although I am weak, I can kill you in an instant. With the divine talisman that was made by an invincible Sir God, Night Sorrow was not afraid of Sir Godin Hun. He thought that he could just die together with him. This is a divine talisman that was made when I was a golden body Sir God at his peak. Sir Godin Hun, who thought that he had the entire situation under control, immediately changed his tone. Back then, when Sir God Mo Yuqian barged into the darkness region to fight with Sir God Inying and Sir God Dark Demon, he had used such a powerful divine talisman, and caused the 1,000 Cavern Mountain to sink by 1,000 miles. Back then, Sir Godin Hun was only a half-step Sir God. He feared such a divine talisman from the bottom of his heart. At such a close distance, once the divine talisman explodes, you won't be able to escape. In other words, your life is already in my hands. Can we talk now? Night Sorrow's body was surrounded by the golden power of merit. His every word and action carried a sacred aura, which made it difficult for the aura of darkness to invade him. What's your goal? Faced with the divine talisman that was made by a Sir God, Sir Godin Hun's soul trembled. He knew that he was indeed threatened. He was so angry that he wanted to smash Night Sorrow into pieces. However, he did not dare to make any moves. It was not easy to cultivate to the Sir God realm. He did not want to be killed by a divine talisman for no reason. My goal is to use this divine talisman to strengthen Sir God Dark Demon's seal. What you need to do is to bring me to the soul-splitting evil spear, and bring me to the place where Sir God Dark Demon is sealed. Night Sorrow said fearlessly. If an ordinary feather god were to face a Sir God, he would not even dare to breathe loudly. However, Night Sorrow was not afraid. Strengthening Sir God Dark Demon's seal will not do any harm to me. Naturally, I will not stop you. However, if you want to find Sir God Golden Body's soul-splitting evil spear, you must be dreaming. I will not let you succeed. And Hun was promoted from a half-step Sir God to a Sir God. He immediately became the new ruler of Darkness Domain. If Sir God Dark Demon broke the seal, he would definitely give up his position as ruler. Now that someone had come to seal Sir God Dark Demon, he was overjoyed. Naturally, he would not stop them. Dark creatures were selfish, evil, cold-blooded and bloodthirsty. They only cared about their own interests. And Hun had no objection to sealing Sir God Dark Demon. However, the soul-splitting evil spear was a divine weapon of an invincible Sir God. It was a great threat to him. Naturally, he would not follow Night Sorrow to search for it. All right. Then bring me to the 1,000 Cavern Mountain. I want to strengthen Sir God Dark Demon's seal. Night Sorrow, who had been holding the spear and facing in Hun, frowned and pondered for a moment. Then he said word by word. His ultimate goal in entering Darkness Domain was to seal Sir God Dark Demon, and delay the dark creatures from invading High Bay City. Now that the opportunity was right in front of him, he would seize it no matter what. I am very curious. After you consume Sir God Golden Body's divine talisman, how will you face me? After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Sir God Dark Soul responded. His voice was filled with evil and cold-killing intent. There was no doubt that once Night Sorrow consumed the divine talisman, he would immediately take action. You don't have to worry about that. Dark creatures like you will never understand my determination to protect the people. Chapter 2461. If Night Sorrow missed this opportunity, the Dark Demon Divine Lord would quickly recover. An invincible divine lord was a giant whale that the current High City could not fight against. Knight Sorrow would not back down even if he had to risk his life. Moreover, after his strength increased, he could vaguely feel a trace of summoning when he used the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear. It was very likely that it came from the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear itself. Knight Sorrow's power of virtue had reached the peak of the Feather God realm. If he could find the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear, he might have a chance to escape. Knight Sorrow, as the second human to kill his way into the dark domain, your courage is admirable. Out of respect for you, this emperor will personally control your soul and make you an eternal servant of darkness. You have too many tricks up your sleeve. Knight Sorrow mocked before continuing. There's no time to lose. Take me to the place where the Dark Demon Divine Lord was sealed. Let's go to the 1,000 Cavern Mountain. The one who benefited the most from the Dark Demon Divine Lord being sealed was Dark Soul. Although it did not like being threatened, it was looking forward to Knight Sorrow successfully strengthening the seal. Under its lead, Knight Sorrow successfully passed through the many dark races' territories in the Dark Domain, and arrived at the foot of the 1,000 Cavern Mountain. The 1,000 Cavern Mountain was the core of the Dark Domain. Standing at the foot of the mountain, Knight Sorrow felt an extremely strong evil aura. This evil aura made him feel dizzy. Knight Sorrow immediately took off the enlightenment wine gourd and drank a few mouthfuls. He shook his head to stabilize his soul. You are well prepared. Seeing Yi Shang's reaction, Sir Godin Hun smiled coldly. He thought to himself, it's easy for you to come, but it's impossible for you to leave. The main reason was that once Knight Sorrow used up the talisman in his hand, he would immediately take action. If I'm not well prepared, how can I seal the Dark Demon Divine Lord? Where should I go next? Knight Sorrow followed Dark Soul Divine Lord and walked step by step toward the 1,000 Cavern Mountain. He silently sensed the existence of the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear. Mo Yuqian once said that the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear was lost near the 1,000 Cavern Mountain. He didn't want to give up on his only chance of survival, so he naturally tried his best to sense the other party. However, the dark aura of the 1,000 Cavern Mountain was extremely dense, and his perception was almost completely sealed off. Walk through the stone door, and you'll see the Dark Demon's seal. At that moment, Sir Godin Hun, who had been advancing, stopped in front of a stone door. It used a secret technique to open the stone door, indicating that Knight Sorrow could enter, and it stopped moving forward. You go first. Otherwise, I will activate the divine talisman and annihilate you. After staring at the stone door for a while, Knight Sorrow shook his head. He didn't believe Sir Godin Hun, and was afraid that he would send him into an isolated space. If that was the case, the divine talisman in his hand would lose its deterrence. I don't want to face the dark demons. And Hun's tone was extremely cold. The dark demon was an evil creature born from the origin of the dark sector. All dark creatures in the dark sector, including Dark Soul, were naturally afraid of it. If you want to wear the crown, you must bear its weight. The dark demon has already been sealed, but you don't even have the courage to face it. Only if you can sit on the throne of the Dark Demon clan. Knight Sorrow said disdainfully. He felt that Hun's boldness was lacking by a lot. If he could successfully strengthen the Dark Demon's seal, it would be good enough for the Dark Sector to maintain its current state under Hun's rule. It shouldn't cause a devastating blow to High Bay City. Human. What you said makes sense. Now that the Dark Demon has been sealed, I shouldn't continue to fear it. I am the Supreme Emperor of the Dark Sector. I don't need to fear anyone. Hun, who was standing outside the stone door, pondered for a moment, then got up and walked in. He only feared the Dark Demon and didn't take Knight Sorrow seriously. Do I need to use the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear art to be sensed? Knight Sorrow, who followed Hun through the stone door, kept thinking about how to summon the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear. As he pondered, he found himself walking into a huge dark abyss. The huge abyss in front of him was hundreds of thousands of miles deep. At the bottom of the abyss, there was a stone statue the size of a mountain. This stone statue was like an evil totem from ancient times. It bared its teeth and looked extremely evil. Looking at it would make one's heart palpitate, as if he was being stared at by a wild beast. Around the stone statue, there was a thick dark aura. This dark aura was shrouded in a certain range by a layer of golden film. Obviously, this layer of golden film was the sealing array set up by the gold-bodied divine monarch. The dark demon was an evil dark creature born from the dark sector. It couldn't be killed in the dark sector. Back then, after Mo Yuqian defeated it, he could only choose to seal it. This is the dark demon. It's really evil. The dark demon had an evil aura that could destroy the world. This aura was not found on other dark creatures. Night Sorrow immediately used the power of merit to protect himself, and walked down the stairs. And Hun, who was walking in front, was trembling. He almost crawled on the ground and didn't dare to continue walking down. The dark demon's aura was very strong in the abyss. And Hun felt fear from the bottom of his soul. And Hun is obviously afraid of the dark demon's aura. However, this discovery is useless because I can't use the dark demon's aura. Unless. Night Sorrow thought to himself as he saw Hun's reaction. After walking for tens of thousands of miles, Night Sorrow suddenly stopped and shot the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear technique into the void. There's a reaction. After using the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear technique at the bottom of the 1,000 Cave Mountain, Night Sorrow immediately felt a strong calling. What are you doing? And Hun, who had been trembling in fear, roared furiously when he saw Yishang's actions. He was afraid that Night Sorrow would break the dark demon's seal. If the dark demon was released at this time, he would definitely be killed. What I do is not something a piece of trash like you can control. Night Sorrow shouted from the bottom of the abyss. In the huge abyss, the dark aura was very strong. This dark aura couldn't suppress Night Sorrow, but it made Hun unable to move normally. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I have to get rid of Hun before I strengthen the seal. If I strengthen the seal, Hun will definitely be affected, and I will lose the chance to defeat him. Seeing Hun being suppressed by the dark aura in the abyss, Night Sorrow sensed the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear. He activated the Essence Chi Smoke Beacon, Star's Tyrant Body, Power of Merit, and 7-star Berserk Alcade to their strongest state. He then cut his finger and dripped a drop of blood on the Azure Phoenix battle armor to activate its strongest state. He shouted, "Spear come." A rusty spear that was buried in the ground in the mountains immediately blossomed with endless light after it sensed the summons. It soared into the sky and headed straight for Night Sorrow. In an instant, the entire 1,000 Cave Mountain shook violently. Chapter 2462. The soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear was so powerful that it naturally alarmed Sir God and Hun. And Hun, who was originally trembling, immediately used a secret technique to improve his condition. He stood up against the pressure of the dark demon's aura. At this moment, he was extremely angry. And Hun originally thought that he would be less suppressed by the dark demon's aura after becoming a Sir God. However, after entering the dark abyss, he felt that his soul was trembling, and he was unable to resist the natural suppression. This made him very depressed. Human cultivator, I let you in so that you can strengthen the seal. Since you didn't do as I said, then die. 100 Evils War Halberd, kill him for me. And Hun followed Night Sorrow into the dark abyss out of caution. He was afraid that Night Sorrow would help the dark demon break the seal, if he wasn't restrained. When he saw Night Sorrow summoning the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear, he immediately became furious. He resisted the pressure of the dark demon's aura, and attacked Night Sorrow with his halberd. And Hun's trident was called the 100 Evils War Halberd. It was made from hundreds of extremely evil materials in the dark dimension. And Hun had nourished it with the dark demon's aura for several reincarnations, and it was now a Sir God weapon. And Hun didn't have to pay attention to the 100 Evils War Halberd after he attacked Night Sorrow. The attack of a Sir God weapon had the power to destroy the world. It brought endless pressure to Night Sorrow. He thought to himself, a Sir God weapon is indeed powerful. If it weren't for the fact that both Hun and the 100 Evils War Halberd were suppressed in the dark abyss and couldn't use their full strength, I would have been killed by this attack. Night Sorrow's tempered body was only at the middle-level Feather God realm, and his power of virtue was only at the peak of the Feather God realm. Facing the attack of the Sir God weapon, the 100 Evils war halberd, he used his vital essence smoke, star's hegemonic body, power of virtue, and 7-star violent alcade to the strongest state. He even cut his finger and dripped blood on the Azure Phoenix armor to activate the strongest state. However, he was in a very difficult situation, and could only barely resist. Kill. 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 One of the phantoms in the 100 Evils war halberd was like a devil from hell. It carried an evil killing intent, and kept bombarding Night Sorrow's position. Every attack made Night Sorrow feel very uncomfortable. It was the artifact spirit of the 100 Evils war halberd, so it had its own consciousness. I'm afraid I won't be able to hold on for long against such a powerful attack. Even though Night Sorrow had used all his strength to block the attack, his body was still heavily injured. If he had blocked the attack for too long, his body might have been shattered. Although his body's toughness far exceeded that of his peers, it was still very difficult for him to withstand the impact of the 100 Evils war halberd. You divine feather realmant, you can't even resist my divine artifact, yet you still dare to try and harm me? You really overestimate yourself. Looking at Night Sorrow's miserable state, Sir Godden Hun, who could barely stand up in the dark aura, said with disdain. He could feel Night Sorrow's murderous intent towards him, and it had completely stimulated his murderous intent. You are really blindly confident. I hope you can be so confident after 10 breaths' time. Although Night Sorrow was barely able to withstand the attack, and even his green phoenix armor was almost shattered, he was very excited. He could feel that the soul-splitting evil spear was getting closer and closer. As long as he could hold on for another 10 breaths' time, it would be in front of him. 10 breaths' time wasn't short, but he should be able to hold on. Sir Godden Hun's 100 Evils war halberd had an artifact spirit that could attack autonomously. Sir God Invincible Mo Qian's divine artifact, soul-splitting evil spear, wouldn't be any weaker than it. As long as it arrived, everything would be reversed. Soul-splitting evil spear is almost here. The 100 Evils war halberd will kill him immediately. At that moment, Sir Godden Hun felt the aura of soul-splitting evil spear getting closer, and he was a little afraid. He was prepared to let the 100 Evils war halberd kill Night Sorrow and escape from the dark abyss. As long as he was far away from the dark abyss where the dark demon was sealed, a divine artifact alone wouldn't be enough to kill him. Take my strongest attack. 100 Evils soul-devouring slash. The artifact spirit of the 100 Evils war halberd received Sir Godden Hun's kill order, and it immediately turned into a huge shadow and flew out from the 100 Evils war halberd. It turned into hundreds of evil auras and shot towards Night Sorrow. In an instant, the nearby aura of the dark demon was covered up. This was the strongest attack of the 100 Evils war halberd, and it could attack one's soul directly. Hundreds of evil auras surged over, and Night Sorrow felt as though his soul was being torn apart by hundreds of hands. It was so unbearable that it felt as though his divine soul was being shattered. What an evil aura! My soul's level isn't high enough and I can't withstand it. Power of merit, protect me immediately. Night Sorrow knew that he couldn't withstand such an attack. He could only use the power of merit and try his best to withstand it. A few breaths' time. I just need to hold on for a few breaths' time, and the soul-splitting evil spear will arrive. I have to hold on. His soul was being torn apart into hundreds of pieces, and each piece was being attacked by an evil aura. This feeling almost made Night Sorrow collapse. He roared in a low voice to pull himself together, so that he wouldn't sink into the darkness. As a feather god, your divine soul is strong enough. However, you stand no chance against my 100 Evils war halberd. Wait for the torture of your soul being shattered. And Hun, who was standing far away, saw Night Sorrow's reaction, and his cold eyes revealed a tinge of ridicule. He said in a mocking tone, "The soul-splitting evil spear will arrive soon, but you can't hold on any longer. I enjoy the taste of despair." A few breaths' time was short, but it was enough for the 100 Evils war halberd to destroy Night Sorrow's soul, and for Sir Godden Hun to retreat. Bastard, I really can't hold on any longer. Night Sorrow's soul cursed violently. Just as Hun had said, he couldn't hold on any longer. A few breaths' time wasn't long, but it felt like a few reincarnations. At this moment, A voice suddenly sounded from the depths of Night Sorrow's soul. Drink, drink quickly. Drink, yes. I have the enlightenment wine. It will help me resist the soul shock. Night Sorrow had lost his ability to think when his soul was being torn apart by hundreds of evil auras. This sentence was like a wake-up call that made him shiver and sober up instantly. Enduring the unbearable pain, he took out the wine gourd and drank continuously. This time Night Sorrow didn't drink by the mouth, but drank the enlightenment wine like it was water. Buzz. After drinking for a while, Night Sorrow suddenly felt his soul tremble. His divine soul rose from the level of a low-level feather god to that of a middle-level feather god. At this moment, the strength of his divine soul was more powerful than that of an ordinary half-step to high god and infinitely close to that of a high god. With the support of the star's mighty body, power of merit and the 7 stars' violent alcade, he could resist the 100 evils' soul-devouring slash. Of course, this was because the aura of the dark demon had suppressed Hun and the 100 evils' war halberd and weakened the attack. If not for this, he wouldn't have stood a chance. Boom. After a few breaths' time, there was an earth-shattering sound of rocks breaking. The soul-splitting evil-slaying spear smashed the stone wall of the abyss and broke through the wall to attack the 100 evils' war halberd that was suppressing Night Sorrow. 100 evils' war halberd, although I can escape from here with you. The dark abyss suppressed Hun and the 100 evils' war halberd greatly. Seeing the soul-splitting evil-slaying spear breaking through the air, Hun immediately thought of escaping. Chapter 2463. Hun did not expect the soul-splitting evil spear to be awakened and Night Sorrow to be able to resist the 100 evil soul-devouring slash of the 100 evil halberd. Otherwise, he would not have given Night Sorrow any chance. Hun had underestimated Night Sorrow. He had thought that Night Sorrow would not be able to do anything with his strength in the God of Feather realm. Only the divine talisman in his hand was a threat. I've awakened. You have no chance to escape. When the soul-splitting evil spear attacked the 100 evil halberd, a handsome figure appeared in the spear. It was an artifact spirit with the appearance of a white-haired youth. There was a strong murderous aura between his eyebrows. It was obvious that he had experienced countless killings. Crack. The 100 evil halberd was immediately broken into 2 after being hit. The soul-splitting evil spear of the invincible Sir God Mo Qian was obviously of a higher grade than the 100 evil halberd of Sir God Hun. Then the artifact spirit of the soul-splitting evil halberd broke out of the spear and chased after the artifact spirit of the 100 evil halberd. The 100 evil halberd stopped attacking Night Sorrow when it was chased by the artifact spirit of the soul-splitting evil halberd. His soul instantly felt relieved. Night Sorrow, who was about to drink a few more mouthfuls of enlightenment wine to recover his divine soul power, realized that the enlightenment wine gourd was empty. His gulping just now had already consumed all of the Tao comprehension wine. It seems that I can only recover slowly. Brother soul-splitting evil halberd is really domineering. Night Sorrow, who had recovered, immediately saw the soul-splitting evil halberd breaking the 100 evil halberd. He felt refreshed. The 100 evils war halberd had indeed suppressed him. Speaking of which, his realm was still too low. If he could break through to the high god realm, he might be able to fight with the 100 evil halberd, or Sir God Hun without the soul-splitting evil halberd. Don't just stand there. Reinforce the seal of the dark demon immediately. Night Sorrow had wanted to cooperate with the soul-splitting evil halberd to kill Sir God Hun. However, the soul-splitting evil halberd suddenly shouted, I can feel that the dark demon is about to break out of the formation. Its aura is too strong. What? The dark demons are about to break out of the formation so quickly. Night Sorrow was shocked and immediately took out the divine talisman that he had put away. In Yenkui's memories, the dark demon still had 1,000 years or so before it could break the seal. But now the soul-splitting evil executing spear was saying that it was about to break the seal. The dark aura of the dark devil here is so dense that even Hun, a god monarch, is suppressed to the point of trembling. This proved that the dark demons were about to break out of the formation. Quickly insert the divine talisman that the Divine Lord gave you into the sealing formation. Good. I'll do it right away. If the dark demon were to break out of the array, Night Sorrow and the soul-splitting evil-vanquishing spear would definitely be destroyed. Night Sorrow, who had suffered a backlash from the 7 stars berserk, took out 2 divine soul recovery pills and swallowed them. After recovering, he directly struck the divine talisman towards the dark demon statue. When the divine talisman was thrown into the sealing array, it immediately exploded. After absorbing all the energy from the divine talisman, the array sealing the dark demon became sturdy again. During this process, the dark demon's statue did not change at all. It stood quietly at the bottom of the abyss. To be able to strengthen the seal so easily, this is very strange. The dark demon is about to break out of the formation. Facing your divine talisman, it is impossible for it to remain indifferent. Its strength is not inferior to Sir God Monarch at all. It is impossible for it to compromise so easily. Seeing that Night Sorrow had successfully strengthened the seal, the soul-splitting evil-vanquishing spear's weapon spirit immediately realized that something was wrong. If something was abnormal, there must be a demon. The dark demon's statue did not have any strange movements. This was very strange. But after that, it and Night Sorrow checked and found that the array had indeed been successfully strengthened. There would not be any problems within a cycle. How could this be? Logically speaking, the dark demon should not be so easy to deal with. After checking the seal, the soul-splitting evil-vanquishing spear's weapon spirit still felt that something was wrong, but it did not discover anything. The dark demon's statue does not look as evil as before. Could this be a sign of something? Looking at the dark demon's statue, Night Sorrow found that when he looked at the dark demon's statue again, he did not have the same feeling of palpitations. He could not help but ask suspiciously. At this moment, not only did Night Sorrow not have the same feeling of palpitations, and Hun, who was originally suppressed by the dark demon's aura, was also freed from the shackles. Without the suppression of the dark demon's aura, it immediately escaped from the dark abyss and disappeared. The 100 Evil War halberd had been broken by the soul-splitting evil-vanquishing spear. This made Hun fearful and did not dare to face the soul-splitting evil-vanquishing spear. The matter of the dark demon has temporarily come to an end. Should we go after Hun? Seeing that Hun had escaped, Night Sorrow immediately shouted, "If you have the strength to kill it, then go after it. If not, before it can react, immediately escape from the dark boundary. I have just exhausted myself and am about to fall into a deep sleep." The reason why I was so strong just now was to help you scare Hun away, and create a chance for you to escape. I can still deal with a weapon spirit by bluffing, but I do not have the strength to continue fighting against a Sir God. The soul-splitting evil-vanquishing spear's weapon spirit's aura had obviously weakened. It no longer had the earth-shattering aura from before. "Senior, thank you for saving my life. If I can successfully leave the dark boundary, I will find a way to wake you up." Hearing this, Night Sorrow realized that in order to save him, the weapon spirit of the soul-splitting evil-vanquishing spear had paid a price. He was a person who knew how to repay kindness, so he immediately made a promise. "You are the successor of the Sir God. I cannot leave you in the lurch. Alright, quickly leave this place. Bring me to the Sir God's side." The soul-splitting evil-vanquishing spear's weapon spirit's aura became weaker and weaker. In the end, it completely entered the soul-splitting evil-vanquishing spear, and did not make any sound. It seems like this is the best ending. It's time to leave. The dark demon's aura in the dark abyss had weakened a lot. It was almost the same as the aura in the endless bone region. After taking one last look at the stone statue of the dark demon, Night Sorrow got up and walked out of the dark abyss. Recently, he had been continuously fighting in the dark boundary, and his spiritual soul had been injured. He was very tired and could only quickly return to the endless bone region to recover his spiritual soul. Then he could return to High Bay City to find his family and friends. Human cultivator. It's not that easy to leave. However, at this moment an evil and cold voice suddenly sounded. The dark demon's aura that had dissipated suddenly gathered together, and formed the appearance of the dark demon. It floated above the void in the dark abyss. "Sir God Dark Demon?" Looking at the evil figure that looked exactly the same as the dark demon's stone statue, Night Sorrow's pupils suddenly contracted. "I am not the dark demon lord. However, I am enough to kill an ant like you. The evil figure that was formed by the dark demon's aura laughed evilly and pounced on Night Sorrow. At this moment, Night Sorrow was surprised to find that the evil figure's aura was not weaker than that of Sir God and Hun before he was suppressed. In fact, it was slightly stronger. In fact, it made sense. If the dark demon's aura was not stronger than an Hun's, how could he suppress an Hun to the point that he could not even stand stably? There is such an existence. In the face of the soul attack from the evil figure, Night Sorrow's spiritual power, which was already injured, could not withstand it at all. This matter was completely out of his expectations. He did not expect that the aura of the dark demon that leaked out of the ceiling formation could form a lower rank Sir God that was not weaker than an Hun. Am I going to die here or have my spiritual soul controlled? At this moment, Night Sorrow was helpless. Chapter 2464. Accept your fate. The gold-bodied divine monarch calculated the existence of an Hun, but not me. In the end, Lord Dark Demon is better. After the divine monarch formed by the dark demon aura attacked Night Sorrow, it directly used soul control, wanting to turn Night Sorrow into its body. Burp, not necessarily. Just as the divine monarch formed by the dark demon aura had the complete advantage, and was about to completely suppress Night Sorrow's soul, a drunken voice sounded. The wine gourd on Night Sorrow's back suddenly turned into the gold-bodied divine monarch Mo Chantian, and appeared in the dark abyss. Gold-bodied divine monarch? The dark demon aura that was attacking Night Sorrow immediately left Night Sorrow's surroundings and gathered in the air again. It looked warily at the Mo Chantian formed by the wine gourd. Hehe. My wine gourd alone is enough to deal with you. There's no need for Lord Divine Monarch to make a move. The Mo Chantian formed by the wine gourd laughed disdainfully and burped. His expression was very similar to Mo Chantian's. So you're about the same as me. After confirming that the divine monarch in front of him was not a real gold-bodied divine monarch, the divine monarch formed by the dark demon aura heaved a sigh of relief. He said arrogantly, "You will definitely die today." Hee, you want to win against the two of us? You're completely drunk. Kid, the chance for revenge is here. Lend me some power of virtue. The Mo Chantian formed by the wine gourd looked at Night Sorrow. Power of virtue was a good thing to deal with demons and monsters. He wanted to use it. At this moment, Night Sorrow had just recovered from the nightmare brought by the dark demon aura. After figuring out what was going on, he immediately turned his power of virtue into a dragon and wrapped it around the Mo Chantian formed by the wine gourd. Being wrapped by the dragon of virtue, the Mo Chantian formed by the wine gourd immediately shone with golden light and attacked the divine monarch formed by the dark demon aura. Neither of them were divine monarchs through cultivation, but they both had the strength of a divine monarch. After a great battle, they reenacted the scene of the past. This time, the gold-bodied divine monarch won, but he was unable to completely destroy the dark demon aura. The aura of the dark demon immediately dissipated into the void after his defeat. Gold-bodied divine monarch, you will never be able to destroy me. Our battle is not over yet. When the dark demon's aura dissipated in the void, the voice of the dark demon emperor resounded in the dark abyss. It was an extremely cold voice that made one's heart palpitate. Did the dark devil come out? This voice gave off a very bad feeling. Yi Shang immediately asked with a frown. It's a part of the dark demon. If it completely came out, we would have been killed long ago. Sai, even now we still can't destroy it. The wine gourd transformed into Mo have money inside. The dark demon's aura dispersed into the void, making it impossible for him to find the target of his attack. I can't destroy the dark demon's true body, but I can try to purify the dark aura in the air. After staring at the void for a while, Night Sorrow removed the Inferno demon subduing spear from his back, and let the power of merit wrap around his body. He unleashed a raging Inferno demon into the air. Flames mixed with the power of merit immediately covered most of the void in the dark abyss. Ah, lowly human cultivator, I'll make you pay the price. The dark aura in the void was purified by Night Sorrow's power of merit. The dark demon let out a blood-curdling scream, and left behind a ruthless sentence before completely losing all signs of life. You'd better pray that you never see me again, because the next time we meet, I'll completely destroy you. Knight Sorrow lowered his head to look at the dark demon statue, pointed the tip of his spear at it, and roared loudly. He wasn't a match for the dark demon emperor now, but he had the confidence and determination to surpass the other party. We'll meet again soon. I hope you won't disappoint this emperor at that time. The dark demon's voice came again, this time from the statue at the bottom of the abyss. Quickly leave the dark abyss and return to the endless bone realm. I'm about to disappear. At this time, the wine gourd transformed into Emo Have Money and reminded Knight Sorrow to leave quickly before returning to his original form. Okay, Senior. I won't let you down. At this time, the only threat to Knight Sorrow left in the dark abyss was the dark soul, but it had already escaped from the Thousand Cavern Mountain. Taking advantage of its absence, Knight Sorrow left the dark abyss along the path he came from. After entering the heavenly pit, Knight Sorrow discovered that the dark aura of the dark abyss was still constantly eroding over, forming skeletons of the Feather God realm. Knight Sorrow knew that these skeletons would attack the seal of the endless bone realm. He used his power of merit to form a wall at the entrance of the heavenly pit, immediately isolating all the dark aura and preventing it from eroding over. In the process of returning to the endless bone realm, Knight Sorrow discovered that the gorillas in the heavenly pit had already become corpses. He knew that this was the work of Jingyun, so she should have successfully returned. After returning to the sky-reaching bone pagoda, Knight Sorrow saw the golden-bodied divine Lord Emo Have Money, who had already become an artifact spirit, in the cultivation room on the top floor. Jingyun, Zhu Yunxia, Holai and Gengchen were standing behind him. When they saw Knight Sorrow return, their eyes were filled with excitement and joy, especially Jingyun, whose eyes were flickering. She had been to the dark abyss before, so she knew how dangerous it was. However, Emo Have Money stood in front and did not move. They followed behind him and did not speak. This was out of respect for their predecessors. Brother, Knight Sorrow has successfully strengthened the seal of the dark demon with the help of the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear and the wine gourd. However, I feel that things are not so simple. The dark demon must have left something behind. Knight Sorrow took the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear and the wine gourd and handed them to Emo Have Money. Good fellow. Seeing the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear, Emo Have Money's eyes revealed a trace of emotion. However, he only took a glance before turning his gaze back to Knight Sorrow's face. He said solemnly, "A new soul has been born in Ao Qingwu's body. I suspect that it is the dark demon. However, she has already left the endless bone realm, so I can't be sure." What? Something like this happened? Looks like I have to return to High Bay City immediately. Ao Qingwu's body was as strong as a high god's. If her body was really controlled by the dark demon, the consequences would be dire. No one in High Bay City could stop him. At this moment, Knight Sorrow was a little regretful that he had saved Ao Qingwu. I know what you are thinking. However, you are the Feather God of Merit. You are different from others. It is not in your character to leave someone in the lurch. Don't think too much. Just follow your heart and do everything. You are about to leave. I have a cultivation manual here. Perhaps you can use it. Take the soul-splitting evil vanquishing spear with you. Now that I have become an artifact spirit, I don't need it anymore. I am already satisfied to be able to see my old friend again. Emo Have Money's voice was full of vicissitudes. After handing over a cultivation manual, he sounded a little sad. Brother, I will bring all kinds of good wine to see you. If there is a chance, I will help you reforge a flawless body and let you embark on the path of cultivation again. Knight Sorrow knew that the sky-piercing bone pagoda needed to guard the endless bone realm. As its artifact spirit, Emo Have Money could not leave at all. Now that he was about to leave, his emotions were a little complicated. Sigh. I am already satisfied to be able to use a little of my remaining strength in the endless bone realm. As for reforging a flawless body, I am afraid that only the invincible Divine King and the Sovereign can do it. I don't even dare to dream of it. Emo Have Money sighed. Brother, don't worry. I will definitely do it. Knight Sorrow said word by word. The invincible divine king, or the sovereign, was a realm that many did not dare to dream of. However, he had the confidence to pursue it. Brother Night Sorrow, you are about to leave. I have a favor to ask of you. I wonder if you can agree? Chapter 2465. Brother, you're the hero who saved High Bay City, and you're also half a master to me. If you have anything to say, just say it. It's Night Sorrow's honor to be able to do something for you. Mo Yuqian had been so high-spirited during the battle in the Dark Domain. Now that he was hemming and hawing, Night Sorrow's heart ached. He respected this old man from the bottom of his heart, who had a slightly wretched appearance but had a big heart. He was willing to do anything for him. Haha. This brother was high-spirited back then, but you only cared about suppressing the Dark Demon clan, and neglected your family. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Mo Yuqian smiled bitterly. I hope Brother Night Sorrow can help me see if the Mo clan is still alive after you leave here. If you come to the Bone region again, send me a message. Mo Yuqian had sacrificed everything for High Bay City, but he was not heartless. He was still thinking about his family. Back then, in order to stop the Dark Demon clan, Mo Yuqian had entered the Dark Domain in the middle of the night without telling his family. Who would have thought that he would never return? He had no idea what his family was like now, nor did he know if his old friends were still alive. Brother, don't worry. I'll make sure everything is done properly. In the future, when I'm strong enough, I'll go to the Dark Domain and kill all the dark creatures. That way you won't have to guard the endless Bone region, and can return to the God realm. Night Sorrow stared into Mo Yuqian's eyes, and made a solemn promise. If not for Mo Yuqian's help in the endless Bone region, he wouldn't have been able to raise his strength so quickly, and he wouldn't have been able to upgrade the Myriad Dao Tome. Now that Mo Yuqian had given him a book to raise his cultivation, he was no different from a master. My family is Langqi Mountain's Mo clan. It's about 1,000,000 miles southwest of High Bay City. After getting Night Sorrow's permission, Mo Yuqian slowly said the name of his family. Hearing this name, Jing Yun's expression changed, but she didn't say anything. Jing Yun, what's wrong? Night Sorrow immediately asked when he saw Jing Yun's expression. No, nothing. I was just reminded of my family. I'm the only one left in my family. Jing Yun's eyes were filled with sparkling tears. Originally, she still had her brother, Jing Hong, but he had died in Feng Ling's hands in order to protect her. My condolences. The dead are gone. We the living need to take the path of the future. Night Sorrow looked at Jing Yun, Zhu Yunxia, Ho Lai and Geng Chen, and asked, what do you plan to do after leaving the Endless Bone region? I need to finish some things. When I return, I'll follow Brother Night Sorrow into battle. Geng Chen's face carried a hint of anticipation. Outside the Endless Bone region, there was someone waiting for him. I don't have anywhere to go. If Brother Night Sorrow doesn't mind, I can follow you. I only hope that Brother Night Sorrow can help us kill Feng Ling and avenge Boss Jing Hong. Ho Lai had nothing to worry about. He used to follow Jing Hong, but now that Jing Hong had been killed by Feng Ling, he had nowhere to go. I will kill Feng Ling with my own hands and avenge my brother. Then, I will seek justice for my family. A hint of ruthlessness appeared in Jing Yun's eyes. Her cultivation was high to begin with. Now that she had strengthened her body in the Endless Bone region, and awakened a very powerful bloodline, she was confident that she could kill Feng Ling and seek justice for her family. It shouldn't be difficult for us to kill Feng Ling, but he might not stay in High Bay City. It'll be troublesome to find him there. Night Sorrow's cultivation foundation was very deep. Now that his power of merit had advanced to the half-step upper divine realm, his strength had increased greatly. He was also confident that he could deal with Feng Ling, but he knew that Feng Ling might not stay in High Bay City. If we can't find Feng Ling, I'll kill my way to the Qishui Feng clan and demand an explanation, Jing Yun said faintly. She didn't only need to avenge her brother, but also to seek justice for her family. Feng Ling was a member of the Qishui Feng clan. He could run away, but the clan couldn't. I will accompany Miss Jing Yun until we finish this. At this moment, Zhu Yunxia finally spoke to express her stance. She was full of sympathy for Jing Yun. Don't worry. Your matters are my Night Sorrow's business. Now that you don't have any foundation outside, why don't you follow me and settle down first, then seek revenge? As long as I can help you, I'll definitely do it. However, I've just arrived in the divine realm, and don't have any foundation. I hope you don't mind. Night Sorrow didn't have any property in High Bay City, but at least he had a residence that could give them a place to stay. As for what plans Jing Yun and the others had in the future, they could discuss it later. Good, that's for the best. Before the others could speak, Ho Lai took the initiative to reply. He really wanted to follow Yishang and make a name for himself. Jing Yun, Geng Chen, and Zhu Yunxia didn't object. They had stayed in the Endless Bone region for too long, and needed some time to recover. All right, since it's settled, let's have a good drink with brother. Do you have any more wine? Night Sorrow's enlightenment wine gourd was already empty, so he asked. He wanted to drink with Mo Yuqian to his heart's content. At this moment, he suddenly thought of the Python King and immediately asked, Brother, how is the Python King after you took him away? He's doing very well. He's currently cultivating in the underground river where you obtained the Genesis essence, and his body's strength is rapidly increasing. Mo Yuqian chuckled. He's about to leave. Do you want to go see him? Night Sorrow nodded and said, It's fate that we met. After we finish drinking, I'll go ask him if he wants to leave. The Python King was his only subordinate in the Endless Bone region. If he wanted to leave, Night Sorrow didn't mind helping him. To him, leaving the Endless Bone region was very simple, but to many people, it would require countless reincarnations of effort. At this moment, Mo Yuqian continued. Brother Yishang, the cultivation manual that I gave you came from the inheritance of a God King, and it's called the Flawless Divine Technique. If your goal is to break through to the Divine King, you can directly cultivate it. If your goal is higher, you can use the contents of the Flawless Divine Art to create a suitable one for yourself. Thank you for your guidance. After leaving the Endless Bone region, I will research a suitable Flawless Divine Art. Night Sorrow bowed to Mo Yuqian. He wanted to use the Flawless Divine Art to complete the Myriad Tao Tomes Feather God chapter. And I have high hopes for you. Let's go. I have some good wine in my collection. I'll bring you guys to try it. Night Sorrow's meaning was very clear. Mo Yuqian could tell that he had great ambitions and immediately revealed a gratified smile. He then brought everyone to a wine cellar on the top floor of the heaven-suppressing bone tower. There were countless types of wine here. They drank for several days before they were satisfied. After drinking, the slightly tipsy Jingyan walked to Night Sorrow's side and asked, You caused a huge commotion when you challenged the challenge tower, but there are still 6 or 7 floors that you haven't challenged. Now that we're about to leave, do you want to give it a try? Night Sorrow had broken the record for the first 5 floors of the challenge tower, and he still hadn't broken it. Chapter 2466. With Jing Yun's current strength, she should be able to pass the 6th level. However, she was still a little weaker at the 7th level. Until today, Jing Yun could still clearly remember the shock she felt when Night Sorrow broke the records. Today, she wanted to relive it and put a perfect end to her experience in the Endless Bone territory. Alright. Leaving 2 levels without breaking the records, I feel like I didn't do a complete job. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. He looked at Mo Yuqian and said, Brother, if I pass the 7th level, will it affect you, the Heaven-Suppressing Bone Pagoda, or the Endless Bone territory? If you pass the 7th level, the Heaven-Suppressing Bone Pagoda will recognize you as its master. If you don't take it away after that, it won't affect the Endless Bone territory. It won't affect me either. Mo Yuqian explained and continued. If you pass the 7th level, the Heaven-Suppressing Bone Pagoda will recognize you as its master. This has been the rule since a few reincarnations ago. You really need to make the Bone Pagoda recognize you as its master. Otherwise, if Feng Ling or Ao Qinggu, who is controlled by the Dark Demon, comes again, they might break through the 7th level. If the Bone Pagoda recognizes you as its master, the consequences will be unimaginable. I'm the spirit of the Heaven-Suppressing Bone Pagoda, but I can't stop it from recognizing you as its master. But I heard that those who leave the endless bone territory will be rejected when they enter the heaven-suppressing bone pagoda again. If they appear in the endless bone territory again, will they still be able to challenge the challenge pagoda? Night Sorrow asked. Those rejections in the past were all controlled by me. However, when faced with someone like you who can withstand the lightning of a high god, I can't do anything about it. Mo Yuqian shook his head helplessly. If that's the case, I'll go challenge the challenge pagoda now. After hearing Mo Yuqian's explanation, Night Sorrow nodded and prepared to walk towards the challenge pagoda. Jingyun, Zhu Yunxia, and the rest were all smiling as they prepared to witness the historical moment of the endless bone territory. However, at this moment, an announcement suddenly rang out in the endless bone territory. Everyone's expression changed. The 6th level of the challenge pagoda has been successfully challenged. A new record has been set. The record holder, Ao Qinggu, took 19 breaths. Ao Qinggu, whose body had been controlled by the dark demon, had suddenly appeared and forcefully broke the record of the 6th level of the challenge tower. Moreover, she had only used 19 breaths of time. In such a short period of time, it was very likely that she had the strength to break through to the 7th level. If she, who was controlled by the dark demons, were to be recognized by the sky-piercing bone pagoda, the consequences would be unimaginable. There's no time to lose. I'm going to participate in the challenge now. I hope I can pass the 7th level before her. Night Sorrow thought back to what Dark Demon had once said as he charged towards the challenge tower. When he was in the dark abyss, he used the power of virtue to burn and purify all the dark aura left behind by the dark demon. The stone statue of the dark demon had once said, "We will meet again very soon. I hope that you will not disappoint me at that time." Now, it seemed that it was most likely referring to this matter. Brother Night Sorrow, I can't do anything about this. It's all up to you now. His old opponent, Dark Devil, actually had a backup plan. This was something that Golden Body God Monarch Mo Yuqian hadn't expected. Currently, he was only an artifact spirit. Moreover, he didn't have any resources or power. He couldn't do anything at all. Jingyan, Zhu Yunxia, Ho Lai, and Geng Chen's expressions all changed. If Ao Qinggu, who was controlled by the dark demon, recognized the sky-reaching bone pagoda as its master, they would most likely be trapped in the endless bone region forever. Night Sorrow, you must do your best. Jingyan watched as Night Sorrow's figure left. Her heart was in her throat. Brother Night Sorrow, you must succeed. You must succeed. If you succeed, I, Geng Chen, am willing to do anything for you. Geng Chen, who wanted to leave the endless bone region the most, was so nervous that he kept pacing back and forth. Don't go. You're making me nervous too. Believe in Brother Night Sorrow. He will definitely be fine. Ho Lai stood up and pulled Geng Chen back to stop him from pacing back and forth. Sigh. Zhu Yunxia, whose expression was extremely ugly, sighed deeply when she saw everyone's reaction. Ao Qinggu, who was controlled by the dark demon, took too little time to pass the 6th level. It would be very difficult for Night Sorrow to surpass her and complete the 7th level first. I want to start the challenge on the 6th level of the challenge tower. After entering the challenge tower, Night Sorrow immediately went to the 6th level to start the challenge. Right now he couldn't afford to waste a single breath. The challenge on the 6th level begins. The humanoid puppet in charge of the challenge tower immediately helped Night Sorrow to start the challenge. Come, let's fight. Before the 9 upper celestial skeletons respawned, Night Sorrow activated the Divine Essence Smoke Beacon and Astral Body. At the same time, he increased his virtuous energy to the maximum and used the 7 stars Violent Alcade without hesitation. After the 9 upper celestial skeletons respawned, he used the Fiery Demon Slayer Spear to unleash the Forbidden 10 Spear Strikes. Boom, boom, boom. The Forbidden 10 Spear Strikes from the Fiery Demon Slayer Spear were imbued with dazzling golden virtuous energy. 9 of the strikes hit a skeleton. However, these skeletons were only heavily injured and fell to the ground. They were not destroyed immediately. The skeletons on this level are so resilient. Without hesitation, Night Sorrow unleashed another 9 strikes. He felt that these skeletons were much more resilient than the dark creatures in the dark dimension. In the dark dimension, he could easily kill an upper celestial dark creature with his full strength. But now, the skeletons on the 6th level could withstand his attack. The challenge on the 6th level of the challenge tower is successful. A new record has been set. The record is set by Night Sorrow in 13 breaths. The skeletons on the 6th level lasted a little longer than expected. This stopped Night Sorrow at 13 breaths. 13 breaths was 6 breaths faster than 19 breaths. This proved that Night Sorrow's AoE skills were stronger than Ao Qingwu's. However, it was obvious that she had reached the 7th level earlier than him. She had reached the 7th level about 20 breaths ago. This was a huge advantage. This was because Night Sorrow had spent 6 to 7 breaths on his way to the Tower of Challenge. Begin the challenge on the 7th level of the Tower of Challenge. The skeletons on the 7th level were definitely more difficult to deal with than those on the 6th level. Ao Qingwu did not end the battle in 20 breaths. Night Sorrow was racing against time. After setting the record on the 6th level, he did not even have time to catch his breath before he started the challenge on the 7th level. Hurry up and respawn. The process of waiting for the skeletons to respawn on the 7th level was torture for him. Without a doubt, if Ao Qingwu, who was controlled by the Dark Demon, gained control of the sky-reaching Bone Tower, Night Sorrow would never be able to leave the Endless Bone region. The Dark Demon would use the Bone Tower to remove the suppression on the Dark Dimension. Under such circumstances, the various dark creatures in the Dark Dimension would probably control all the practitioners in High Bay City in a short period of time. Night Moon Island was not far from High Bay City. Hence, all the Night Moon people would not be able to escape the clutches of the dark creatures. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.